Okay. Good evening, Holliston, and welcome to the December 11th school committee meeting. We're kind of excited to get started tonight. It's kind of got some really exciting news to share. I'll just let everyone know, the whole community know, that we are thrilled that Holliston has officially been invited into the Massachusetts School Building Authority eligibility period for a new Holliston, or for Holliston High School. And we'll kind of go into the details on that soon, but it's really exciting and we're thrilled. We also have, I'm going to kind of jump around on our agenda today. We've got Ben Sparrow from the Select Board joining us. So if you want to come, we'll start with you. Because we're working very closely with the Select Board on all of this, so we're happy to have your support here.
Sure. I have a statement.
Yes, go ahead.
Be so kind to read my statement. So good evening. I'm speaking as the chair of the Select Board. This is not official because we haven't met to actually vote on this statement, but you know, it's not a lot here. I just would like to congratulate the town of Holliston. This is an exciting occasion that after many years of submissions, we are on the cusp of being accepted to the MSBA, because technically the meeting's tomorrow, to the MSBA program to find solutions for our aging high school. The Select Board would like to take this time to formally invite the school committee to our meeting on December 22nd to begin talking about the process and next steps as we embark on Module 1 of the MSBA process. And let's take a moment to celebrate this critical first step before we roll up our sleeves and start the work required to fulfill our commitments to the community. So, thank you. And, you know, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer, or, you know.
So this is a great thing for coming on such short notice too. And one thing I think maybe we post so the full committee can be there on the 22nd, sure. And it can be kind of not like a joint meeting, but like kind of a joint meeting.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you'll be gracious enough to put a second first, right?
Well, I might have to put you second because I think we're inviting we're trying to invite somebody in who I don't want to say it because I don't want to.
Yep.
But there's somebody we're inviting in from the public that we want to make sure that they have first to get through. So it'll.
Whenever you can make.
I'll tell you offline, but yeah, you would be very first 10-15 minutes, I promise.
Thank you.
Any other questions or anything?
Exciting stuff.
Yeah.
It's very exciting. Yes, we got stuff to do in 30 days, so we have to get crazy.
Right. We will be.
So we look forward to seeing you on the 22nd, and yay.
But I think for the public to understand, like, this is, you know, while we've kind of been a little separate, the Select Board has obviously been supporting us the past 6 years in the application. Now we're really, you know, merging together because the Select Board is statutorily in charge of appointing the building committee.
And we're the chief executive of the town, and in many cases there's a role we have to sign stuff and be part of stuff as that role. Right. So there's but there's going to be lots of community input and opportunities for lots of different groups to participate. So it's
a whole town.
It's a whole town thing. It's a big deal. So it's a lot of moving parts, and it's going to take years. So, but this is just step one, and this is a big, important step. So it's great.
Thank you so much for coming. Really, truly appreciate it. Yes.
We'll chat. So
Sounds
if anybody
good.
has any questions or anything, feel free to reach out and we can chat.
Okay. Thank you.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Okay.
See you on the 22nd.
Yes. Do we want to talk about the communication now?
I think since we're here.
So I know.
Is it just what you sent out, or is it in the packet? I didn't look. Okay.
I did not put it in the packet.
Okay.
Sarah, did you grab it?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so it's in
Do you want to throw it in there so that
I can
we
put
can
it in there,
edit
yeah.
it?
So I know. Okay.
So the thought here is that we will just sort of put out something from the school committee, I guess, announcing this to the school community, and then when we meet with the Select Board, there'll be a bigger sort of joint memo from everybody, you know, Select Board, school committee, superintendent, town manager. That, you know, just given timing of everything.
Do you want to talk through any edits on what Frank wrote?
Sure. One thing I noticed is did you mean STEAM or STEM?
Staff, sorry. There is STEAM.
So there's
It's
STEAM
STEAM-
too,
it's STEAM-
yeah.
it's STEAM?
Team is a thing, yes.
Oh, the STEAM, for sure.
I went on, we do have a STEAM program,
Do we?
but I could also say staff.
No, I'm good with everything.
We're good with that.
No, it's not. I'm but one. The only thing is, I mean, I like the FAQ. I think maybe it might be a little premature, just maybe
That's fair. Yeah,
that comes after we have conversations with the select
That's
board.
totally fair. I would only put the FAQs in there in case there were questions about what is MSBA and things
Yeah.
like that. So if we want to hold on that for the broader communication, absolutely. And we'll probably need them for a number of scenarios going forward. So
Can we wait to release this until after we meet with the select board? Because I think some of these are important. Like I had some of the same questions that were answered here. So I think we'll have a lot of community members with similar questions. Like I'd be hesitant to leave them off. Like,
Well, I think
The FAQ part?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you're saying leave it off, or you're
I'm
Leave it
saying
off until
put
we-
out the statement after the vote tomorrow, and then taking the FAQs off
for tomorrow's.
and then once we meet with the select board, we have a more and I assume probably on the 22nd we're not going to form the building committee. That'll be something in January, and then more work will be done, and they can come up with a more robust FAQ and some answers. Or I mean, the alternative is we could post the FAQ kind of on our website and link to it, so it's not kind of part of it, but at least there's some initial questions answered, and we can edit them more on the fly too, if need be, if there's some confusion over that.
I think we could take it off the communication, but I do agree, like post, like as of now, because we'll be talking multiple committees, we'll be talking about this going forward, having almost a running FAQ too, as questions come up that we don't know now to make sure they're answered for the community going forward.
Yeah.
So we could definitely, I could work with Dan, or subcommittee will work with Dan to get that posted. Probably it's good to have a progress page too on this. I'm just,
Well, I mean, look, what most towns do is they have a dedicated website to this, and that's, sometimes it's even separate from the actual town or school website. It's like its own URL and everything, and it's just for the building project, and that's more dynamic and updatable.
Figure that out.
Yeah.
But I think what's included before the FAQ would probably answer some of the initial questions, like a little bit of information about the funding, the feasibility study, like that there are these steps that are going to happen along the way.
Maybe we should add a link somewhere in here just to the MSBA website and the steps. So if
That's a
you want to
good idea.
quickly click to it, not that Ben and I have been talking, not that the MSBA website is actually all that intuitive, and hopefully I think there's a meeting set up between maybe they even have some more, maybe like a PDF packet that they can sort of provide with all that sort of put together. I don't know if that's a.
We have a meeting on Tuesday for Module
Right.
1, so I think we'll know a little bit more.
But do they have, like, you go on their website and it's like 100 different links and you have to click through it. It's very cumbersome to try to get to. They have like a, now that you've been admitted, here's the.
They do have the one-pager that kind of maps out just sort of the timeline and the different steps and the
Right.
phases. So that's something that could go into this.
No, I'm not looking to. I was more hoping just even for us to be able to sort of read a more.
I'll do some digging further.
Oh, well.
Hi, Megan. To Susan's point, there's like I did find, and I can send it to you. There's a module 1 that kind of like breaks it out into like, here's what's this. This is when it's due, and it's like there's a whole bunch of things we have to do within 270 days of being accepted in, and it gives you a link to like here's the document. This is what it's going to look like, and that kind of thing. I can send it to you, and that's probably the best one. It isn't easy to find. I certainly admit that, but I can send it to you if that would help.
Sure.
And they are going to want, provided you're officially approved tomorrow, which we will be, they are going to want a commitment to vote for feasibility by the end of June 2026. So that would be the May town.
Right, we would look to the May town meeting, and this is going to be a big ask and a big commitment from the town to go through this, and that's sort of one of the things here is we've been accepted for a new high school, and that is hopefully what we'll end up with, but that you first have to go through the process, and then the state decides, or the MSBA decides what they're willing to offer based upon the feasibility. So you have to spend before you can know what you're going to get.
And there's a lot of touch points too. There's a lot of opportunities. It's, there's multiple town meeting votes. There'll probably be multiple ballot questions. There's going to be a lot of steps along the way where people will be able to chime in either at the ballot box or through other means.
Well, Millis and Lexington just voted earlier this week and approved theirs, but they are 3+ years from when they were accepted. So this is a multi-year process.
No
one is running anything under the cover of darkness quickly to
I'll send you that link.
Great, thank you.
Can I make one edit too? The paragraph after the bullet points. I'm not crazy about that
This moment?
specifically. Yeah. I think it should be more focused on the building itself as the milestone. And I know that there have been a lot of changes at the school, but everyone's working hard to keep kind of improving things. But
I don't have an edit document.
you don't have it. You don't?
I have view only.
Oh, on the one that I just put out there.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I like that, but I understand your point. So
I think we'll have. We can take it out let's keep it crisp for this announcing because it is like just
Yeah.
hot off the presses, and then as we communicate more, obviously we can build some of that stuff in.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay.
I like the bullet point section. I think that just communicates it a little bit more clearly. I'm wondering if we can, in the second paragraph, just soften the language a little bit.
This achievement?
Yeah.
Okay. Soften it.
We can just take achievement.
I would just say this achievement has been years in the making.
Yep.
Period.
Yeah.
Or this has been years in the making.
It's a milestone.
Yeah, milestone.
Sure.
I like that.
Sure.
I still can. Oh, can I edit it?
We see milestone in the first
No.
though, so I also would take that out, but I would say the Holliston School Committee is excited to share that Holliston has been officially invited.
Well, I mean, we can. Why don't we take out that?
I
percent?
take out the qualifying stuff, but
Yeah, we
Yeah.
could start. with our-
I am excited too. I'm not saying take out excited. I think we are excited. I just,
But it's not just excited. It's
I know.
All right.
But, yeah.
Well, I took out the first sentence because I feel it was redundant because we announced it and we could say
Sure.
we submitted multiple. Is there anything within that paragraph we also want to omit and or update?
Can we change where it says each one grounded in the same truth that our community has long understood? Can we change that to be something like with the goal of investing in a 21st century educational?
Yes. With a consistent goal.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to take that one, Hillary?
Okay.
My edit.
Sorry.
It's not going well.
Do you have edit access now? Okay.
Yes, I have access, but it's not clicking. Consistent goal. Yes. Sorry, you're gonna kill that paragraph.
Yeah, can I? Thanks.
All right.
Sorry. And then, to me, on the second page, see, I think it'd be great if we could get it on one page, but
Move the margin. Well, but it's going to be an email anyways.
yeah, I guess
It's
that's
sort of.
yeah, that's true.
So,
So this on the second page, though, I don't know if we need this part.
okay, Sarah, we can.
Kumbaya.
Well, if we want to make it short, we could take out, still in that second paragraph, just the the last two sentences and then go right from the first sentence to the being invited into.
Yeah, what you have, yeah.
But I'm good taking those two things out that Sarah highlighted.
Yeah, if we, I would also rather leave that one in and get rid of what Sarah's highlighted.
Okay, there it
In a
is.
second.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little
Okay.
squishy.
Yeah. I'm more
Six
straightforward.
things,
Yeah.
Commune.
All right.
All of those.
Other than that, I'm okay with.
Yeah.
Is that okay?
Yeah, no.
All right.
And do we want to look at the FAQs before, or are we putting the
I
FAQs
would.
up?
I don't think
Or
we'll put
waiting?
them up yet.
Okay.
I think we'll wait because a lot of that will
That's fine.
still be
I
ironed
there
out,
was some-
or
Is
more
there
detail will come as we go through things with the select board.
So I don't want to add any more because we just took out a lot.
But I liked the
Oh, go ahead, sorry.
the concept of the FAQs.
If we're not going to post the FAQs, could we put, there'll be more information coming in this so that
Yep.
it's not like this is anyone here?
The more meeting coming after we meet with the select board and officially sort of kick
Yeah,
off
why
the
don't we
process.
end with that? We could even,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yep.
take-
That works.
Did you delete that, Sarah?
Oh, sorry. Are you not? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
you got it.
There we go.
So like last sentence will be,
Oh, and Frank.
Just joined.
Oh.
Okay.
Additional
information will be
forthcoming. Following, additional information will be coming following the select board meeting on December 22nd.
So we just noticed that Frank Gervasio has joined as well. I just wanted to give Frank an opportunity to say something if he would like.
Provided following the select board meeting.
Or not.
I would spell out.
No, sorry, no need to say anything, just checking in, but
No, thank you.
I just left the sewer commission meeting, so I thought I'd just pop in.
yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for joining, at least.
Oh,
Appreciate
yeah,
it.
of course, sorry to disturb.
No. Okay.
I just added one last line, but just the more information provided following the select board meeting.
Thank you.
And just delete the FAQ for this version of the document. We'll have it in others so we can read.
Yep.
That way there's no confusion.
You got it. Appreciate
So-
everyone's help.
At this point, can I entertain a motion to approve this communication to go out tomorrow, probably around 2 o'clock after the MSBA meeting happens in the morning?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Roll call vote. Sorry. Tracy?
Oh, Dawn is trying to say
Okay.
something.
Don, would you like to approve this?
Yes,
Okay. Tracy?
Yes.
Did you have something else to say, Don? Or just word?
I did not. No, I thought you were asking me.
Yes. Okay, thank you. You said Tracy, yes?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Hillary?
Yes.
Dan?
Incredibly excited, yes.
Yes. And I'm a yes,
No,
so
we
thank
voted,
you.
didn't it? No more.
It's still in there.
What is it? The FAQs? No.
It still says incredibly excited.
Oh, we are incredibly.
Okay, so moving on. Sorry, we're going to go back to our agenda. Thank you, students, for waiting through all of that. But we wanted to kind of start off with that really exciting news. So we are going to return to the agenda. Let's see, we've got the consent agenda first. I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda at this point.
So moved.
Second.
And we'll do another roll call vote. So Dawn?
Yes,
Tracy?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Hillary?
Yes.
Dan?
Incredibly excited, yes.
And I'm a yes. Okay, so now we can do our report from student representatives.
Okay. Last week, winter sports started, including tryouts and practices. So hockey opened their season against Norwood today. The boys and girls track teams have their first meet against Westwood tonight. And then hopefully these teams can set off a successful sports campaign for the high school this season. Many athletes, including Max Harrington and Reese Pirelli for track, and Grady Kiley, Skylar Rodenheiser, Henry McGilligot, and Ethan Anastasia for wrestling, have been nominated for Metro West Daily News preseason awards.
Theater 370 put on 4 amazing shows of Into the Woods the weekend before Thanksgiving. Between students in the orchestra and the crew and performers, there was a lot of fun to be had and a lot of positive audience reviews. And then the student-directed 1X have started up, and the performances will be in February.
The Regional Student Advisory Council meetings are underway. Our 2 representatives are currently participating in the work group involved in improving all aspects of student-teacher relationships in the classroom and beyond.
College representative meetings have wrapped up, and college citizens are now rolling in week by week.
Winter chorus and band concerts are next Tuesday and Wednesday, respectively. They will feature both the middle school and high school groups that have been hard at work putting together their programs.
The new and recently updated senior privilege of being able to leave in the event of teacher absence is very well received and running smoothly.
DECA, the business club mock competition, was held yesterday and it went very well. 112 students across all 4 grades competed in business categories ranging from hotel lodging management to finance and accounting. 15 community members, all with either their own business experience or owning a local business, generously gave up their morning to assist in judging, and 2 came from local banks. The event was held in preparation for the district's competition, which will be January 8th and 9th.
Multicultural Night was a special night of diversity, of celebrating the diversity in our community, and it was amazing. There was a lot of great food.
The pep rally went well, and students had fun watching teachers perform a dance and play games like relay races and tug of war, where the seniors retained their crown.
And then upcoming National Honor Society events. Next Thursday, students will be delivering gifts to senior citizens from the Senior Center. And then also NHS is preparing baked goods and letters for Teacher Appreciation Week, and officers have been selected for the upcoming year. And addition, in the moment, we're very excited about the possibility of a new high school building as well.
Are you incredibly excited, though?
Incredibly excited.
Incredibly excited. You guys can come back and visit in 5 to 7 years.
Coming from like the band hallway, very excited.
Yes. Right.
Spent a lot of money keeping that hallway dry. We have to keep that building kind of like keep that wall. Because we spent so much money on it. Like memorialize it to the.
That might be the new subtitle of Holliston High School. Incredibly excited.
Not quite like the Berlin Wall, but
Incredible excited.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Okay, school committee, individual comments. Tracy?
Sure. I want to thank Dr. Kuska and the entire central office for all of your work with this high school. It is very exciting. I know I have many children in the school who will get to enjoy this, so that's it's great. My older 2 are a little jealous that they've likely missed out, but the younger ones are excited. And also, I want to thank just all the teachers, support staff, everyone that's in the building right now. I know there's a lot of energy and excitement, and it's a lot to be working with children at this time of year. So thank you to all of our teachers and support staff who are making it happen.
Yep. December, I hope everyone enjoys time with their family. I am incredibly excited for the new high school.
I just wanted to give a shout out to the Holliston Youth Chair 12 and under team for qualifying for nationals and making the trip down to Florida while the rest of us froze up here in Massachusetts. But
still freezing.
They were top 5, right? I mean,
They came
they
before.
didn't just travel there.
they competed and they top 4.
4,
Oh,
sorry.
okay.
Yeah,
But yeah, they were state champions and made the trip down.
I wanted to thank CPAC. They have done an outstanding job of fundraising this fall through a number of events that they've had, and have put together several gifts and grants for our teachers to use for different products in their classrooms, as well as some grants for families to use for educational services outside of school, which is amazing. And I also want to thank, so last night here at the library, the HDAC, Holliston Drug and Alcohol Awareness Coalition, put on a presentation about supporting adolescents with mental and health struggles and safety. They put on on around with the police department, fire department, our school resource officers, and even some of our students and Holliston Youth and Family Services. It was really amazing. I really appreciate all the work that was put into coordinating that across all of those community organizations, and it really spoke to how well our schools are collaborating with all the community services in Holliston. So thank you, Zoe Moreau and the students for putting that on.
I had the opportunity to go to one of the shows of Into the Woods, and maybe Adele left because she knew I would say what a great job that she did in it. She was one of the stars, and we just got a lot of great kids with a lot of talent. I also had the privilege of being one of the judges yesterday at the DECA competition, and again, just very impressed by the talent that our kids have. And one of the representatives from the local bank even was talking afterwards about how impressed he was, without having kids in the school district, about how impressed he was with the kids that presented to him. So I think everyone that participated there should be very proud of themselves, and good luck with states. I was a little disappointed. For some reason, they gave me hospitality. I don't know if they knew that I was just such a great disgruntled customer, but somehow I didn't get the finance ones. But I played a disgruntled customer very well, demanding refunds, and they pushed back very well. So much to my chagrin. But anyway, no, great job to everyone. So there's something about a high school.
No additional comment.
I just have one comment. Our Martha Ellis is our long-standing crossing guard right at Central and CVS, is it Woodland or CVS? And she is retiring, so we want to say thank you for her many years of service. She has helped many of our students cross those crazy streets safely, and we really appreciate all of her her smiles, her kindness. She's just really taken care of our kids for so long, so we appreciate her efforts immensely and wish her well. Also want to put a word out that we're trying to hire for that position as well. There's a posting on the town website. I think the school also cross-posted it to just help get the word out, because it's a super important position, and we hope to get it filled soon. So thank you to Martha. And I think that's all I have. So at this point, I think we just have Lori for public comment, if you'd like to come up to the table. I'll ask you.
Hey, everybody. So it's always so weird that public comment comes before anything happens, because probably this is completely unnecessary public comment, but I have to make it because I don't know what's coming next. So I heard a rumor that some group in town is advocating for us only having days off on federal holidays. And I don't know much about it, but I just wanted to say that if that is ever going to be on the table, I hope there would be a long conversation about it, and that all the people who would be impacted by that would have an opportunity to weigh in. I came today because it said school calendar was on the agenda and you're going to vote. And so I didn't know. I thought I could get here and there could be 30 people lined up to advocate for that. And I just want to make sure that there's plenty of time to consider if that ever comes to the table. That's all. So thank you, and thank you for all your work.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Laura. Should we jump to math, just because we've got Karen here? Does that sound okay? Do you mind if we jump ahead, David and Dan?
Yeah. No,
okay.
Let's get Karen.
Yeah. All right. So our next, we'll move up. We have a discussion about the math leveling advisory update. Karen, if you want to just come to the table and we'll kind of talk through some of what the math advisory group worked on.
Can we project the recommendation too? So I'll just go into a little bit of background, and then Karen's also going to share some information, answer questions from the school committee. So Sarah and I were representatives from the school committee on the math advisory group. We met from June until November. We had a nice group of representatives that included elementary, middle, and high school teachers, both Karen Manning and Ron Taylor as representatives, as administrators from the Adams Middle School, as well as community representatives. So first of all, just want to thank the representatives Amanda Bigelow, Ashley Bouchard, Kathy Chartier, Ann Canoni, Lori Kizik, Carla Kraus, Karen Manning, Shannon Mulcairn, Chris Stanek, and Ron Taylor for their participation. It was many hours of volunteering their time. They were really engaged, great conversations, and just really want to appreciate their engagement. So the process that we went through, we engaged in a lot of, if you can see there, a lot of research, taking a look at the information that was already been collected by the Holliston Public Schools through the equity audit, the math study group, the math curriculum review committee, some additional research around middle school pathways. We looked at MCAS math data, iReady and IXL math data, and really looked at historical trends, current trends, breaking it down by student groups, racial, demographic, and enrollment groups, including our students with disabilities and multilingual learners. We looked at high school math course enrollment trends by student group, and also looked at different models from districts across the Metro West area and some other areas, looking at how they set up their middle school math pathways and what leveling looked like. And then finally, we also looked at some of the DESE math frameworks in grades 6 through 8 and Algebra 1, the standards, and DESE guidance on math pathways. And so through kind of that process, each of the kind of our research groups put together a number of different recommendations, which included looking recommendations for differentiated math pathways beginning in grade 7 with an option for Algebra 8 in grade 8, differentiated math pathways beginning in grade 8 with an option for Algebra in grade 8, and then also looking at no leveling. And so from that, we took those 3 recommendations and we took a vote across the committee. There was very strong interest in the following recommendation, which is differentiated mathematics pathways beginning in grade 7, including an option for students to take full Algebra 1 in grade 8, with a vote of 11-1 in support of that recommendation. Karen, anything you wanted to add about the process?
Yeah, I mean, I want to publicly thank Hillary and Sarah for taking a lot of folks, including myself, with big emotions and passions around this subject and really using protocol and directing our energy, and did a great job with that. So thank you so much for kind of organizing that for us. So we're kind of, excited to look at this with a different lens in terms of leveling. 2 big things that kind of came out of it were equity and just sort of access, for all kids, and fluidity. So I do think that we are going to be able to come up with a really cutting-edge approach to having kids be able to learn math at their access points, but we'll see, what happens with the vote, and then we begin our work, and I'll definitely have updates for everybody. And I think we're back on the agenda in February. I'm always happy to answer questions, but yeah, we're excited about continuing to serve all the kids in Holliston and work with the community on just kind of making everybody happy. Any questions?
So one thing I want to say, I think that this is and I want to know a little bit more about the specifics of what sort of is it. But before I get to that, I think that this is just looking over the group of people involved in this. There were 12 individuals on this committee that, while it was formed by the school committee, includes 6 educators. So almost, half of the group, and by educators, I apologize, I mean teachers, curriculum specialists, 2 administrator educators, because I don't mean to say you're not educators, 3, and bumbling my words here, and then 3 community members, and I think all of them have a background in education themselves.
Yep, almost everybody that volunteered from the community was an educator, so.
Right. So and then 2 school committee members, and so the collaboration here between the school committee, between the administration, between our educators and the community, I think this is a really great example. And Hillary, I don't want to put you on the spot, but I really think that the community needs to understand how much you did to help guide this group, not decide for it, but put together the structures for the conversations, and the fact that you're an educator yourself. I mean, you just, in my mind, did a tremendous job in a very short period of time, getting through a ton of stuff to get to a recommendation in time to allow for implementation for next year. So I really want to thank you for all of your hard work. Regardless of the outcome, I think just you put together a document last year for us about sort of the timeline and everything. I think you beat that, but still got all the same work done, and just incredibly grateful, and everyone from the community should just understand and recognize that. So anyway, but back to it. I mean, so we're differentiated math pathways beginning in grade 7. So does that mean 2 different levels in grade 7?
Yes.
Okay.
And at least 2 different levels in grade 8, including a full Algebra 1 level.
At least 2 or 3. I mean, so I know at one point we had 3 back in the teens.
And is the DESE guidance still 3, or they have something laid out that shows 3?
I believe so. And so there were a lot of, as you can imagine, a lot of discussion from the group as we looked at different district models, as we looked at the DESE guidance and the research. There was a lot of kind of discussion about not just what is going to be the recommendation, but then how would it look. Right. And so ultimately thinking about the charge of our group, this is the recommendation we're putting forth is kind of within the purview of a school committee subcommittee, and then that continued discussion of how and the implementation goes back to Karen and her team.
No, that is important, is that we sort of heard the big C, and then we turn that over to the administration to sort of do the implementation. That being said, I mean, I think 2 is good for 7th grade. I would prefer 3 in 8th grade, only because I think it just provides for more opportunities for kids to sort of learn where they're at before getting thrown into high school. But I think for you, the most important thing is that equity piece, and I've been sort of saying it from the very beginning, and I hate to sort of say that I've been saying it from the very beginning because it's annoying, but it's making sure that we are providing and meeting kids where they're at, but also keeping those pathways so that if you're in the second level in 7th grade, you have the opportunity to get to any of the levels in 8th grade, and that some of them may be those that cost money, but others are things that we're able to provide within school, or sort of opportunities that don't cost money and that can be offered to. So we're keeping in mind not just people's time, but also sort of their economic sort of capabilities. Because so that's very important to me too, as you go forward and think about this, and I know it is to you as well. Yeah.
The plan is to do this without any additional cost.
No, I don't mean cost to the district. I mean cost to the parents.
Oh, tell me more.
Well, like for instance, if one way to get from 7th, so the lower level in 7th grade to the full algebra 1, these are the highest in 8th grade, would be to take a summer course, and that would be a few $100s. So just finding ways that maybe that is one opportunity that is offered, but another opportunity is something else within the school day, or that is provided by the district. But
that's one of the things we considered, very, very strongly in the equity discussions.
Right.
And there was a local tutor who was part of the discussions, and she was able to give us like a lot of information and thought kind of around that topic. And she agreed that, not everybody either has access to or can afford, a private tutor, and that was. We all agreed at the table that was a concern, because we're here to serve all of the kids and not just the ones who can afford a private tutor. So we have some creative ways already in place where kids can access additional math during the school day, and I think we'll be able to continue with that momentum.
Is there a time, I know I might be jumping the gun here. Congratulations, by the way. The amount of professionalism here led by this committee. Subcommittee has been awesome, especially with all the emotion around it when we started off, I remember. When can the community expect the next steps, like what this will look like, right? This is the recommendation, but to Dan's point, what levels are there exactly? How will we create that fluidity? When can we expect, not we, but the community expect that to come out?
So I think, the next time I would probably officially unveil the next steps that we are thinking of would be in, I think, February when we have our mid-year. But certainly if anyone has questions about what we're doing in the meantime, during the course of the school day, which is when everyone who helps with this kind of work is available, we have a lot of busy other folks in our care. So we do have this. It's a big project, so we do have this as a priority, but it has to kind of fit into our day as well. So we have some scheduled meeting times, we have some brains at the table, we have some really talented folks who work on schedules, and it's important to all of us that there's fluidity and equity in whatever we have to offer kids.
And the plan would be for 26, 27?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Say thank you to you and to all of the teachers that were involved. It was a pleasure to work with and hear how everyone's minds were kind of approaching this. And I think we have wonderful teachers in our district and administrators, and I just appreciate all of what goes into it. It's a lot. So thank you.
So can I echo that too? And I'll just make a motion that we implement the recommendation of the Math Leveling Advisory Committee to implement differentiated mathematics pathways beginning in grade 7, including an option for students to take algebra in grade 8, which includes, and just as we talked about, which includes at least two levels in grade, includes 2 levels in grade 7 and at least 2 levels in grade 8. And that'll be the end of my motion. And as I said, I prefer 3. But
Second by Dawn.
All in favor? Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you again to all the volunteers in there.
Is that 9 months, Hillary, we were working on that?
About June to
Okay, 6 months.
November. Yeah, 6 months.
Right.
Okay. So now, Dr. Jordan, would you like to do
I would
budget?
ask whoever's driving to pull up. There's a.
You're not in the meeting.
Do you want me to present it?
You want to do it?
Yeah, go ahead, since Dan's gonna. Yeah, I'll follow you. Perfect. There's a PDF that's in there. Pull that up.
Can you just move them? Yeah.
See if I can get everything. Why don't we go ahead and start with the bottom first? Or reduce the size. That's fine. That's fine. Reduce? Yeah, see if we can reduce the size a little bit. Because I think this is more for folk. Everybody has this in their folder if they want to pull up and get a closer their eyes on it. But those who are on Zoom will be able to see this just fine. So where we are is the overarching impact on Part 2 is a 5.05% increase. This is predominantly driven by a small number of factors, but some costly factors that are in there. One is there is a 100% increase in legal fees, so an $18,000 increase in legal fees This matches next year. We are going into contract negotiations, and I would say that the $18,000 that's currently been budgeted has not been matching the 5-year trend of costs. And as we go into our budget negotiations, this is a realistic number of what we're going to need to use, and likely we'll be using other revenue as well, potentially to cover those legal fees. But this is a realistic number for us as far as legal fees. Technology, this is just a 3% inflation. We're lagging slightly behind our expenses, but we're holding on it. So a 3% increase is kind of matching what our expense inflation would be within technology. We have other things where we look at, like, and Dan's going to present on some of our capital requests for some of our hardware, but we've been in a world for the last 7 or 8 years that's kind of escalating of curriculum shifting to more technology-based subscriptions, and then things being more online, our year-to-year subscriptions. We get very accustomed to and beholden to, and then they just kind of can increase those rates on us, and we're kind of stuck with those being kind of fixed costs for us. The next piece are down at the 3,300 line transportation services. We are in the last year of our contract with Holmes Transportation. We will go out to bid. This is just kind of planning for what those numbers will come back with, as well as kind of if you're comparing that transportation line to our last line, the 9100 line, our tuition match schools, Norfolk Aggie, I'm just kind of planning for transportation. We have transportation increases for Norfolk Aggie, but also that last line is just our tuition that we pay for Norfolk Aggie is a $93,000 increase from the prior year. To give you some perspective, last year at this point when I was presenting, it was a $99,000 reduction. We were in FY24, we were budgeted for 20 students. We ended up budgeting for FY26 actually at 16 students. We are 2 students short. We ended up with 18 students this year, and I'm projecting 18 students for next year. We're averaging right around 5 and 4 students per class within Norfolk Aggie that we have, and we also don't know how, with Norfolk Aggie specifically, how the new system from the state is going to work as far as the number of seats of Holliston residents they're going to accept into Norfolk Aggie. This is kind of our conservative first pass at Norfolk Aggie costs or whatever, so that may change as we go through the budget cycle. Let's see, the custodial supplies, that's the 4110. The year 2, custodial services, we're going to be going into our year 2 of our contract for that. And then, let's see, the 4120 just for our heating of our building, and then lastly 4130 is our electricity costs. While our amount of electricity use or kilowatts that we use within electricity is pretty stable for the most part, it's our delivery costs within the electricity that's been escalating at an exceptional rate. So this is the town, we are all as a whole town are experiencing that we're looking at 7 to 10% increases year over year over year. And this is to kind of match that, and that's a 10% increase listed there. I guess at that, the overall delta is of this is $276,830. all of Part 2, which is kind of everything that is not special education or payroll, would be $5,757,000. Just please note the entirety of our budget is going to be just under $50 million, and then we use some additional revenue there. We're going to be right around probably like $46 million for that. So while it's at a 5.05%, it's still just only like a $276,000 hit on the delta of the budget.
Dr. Jordan, for any of the ones that are no increase, are we going to see any favorability among those that could bring down the increase we're seeing now? Because we're not seeing anything that's going down.
Yeah, potentially. So this is a conservative look. This is our kind of first pass. What this is really highlighting the things that are going up. If I were to kind of like pull out these lines and show you last year's expenses and really, and what I do between now and when we get further into the budget cycle, I will look at multi-year trends to see if we can kind of reduce the budgets in those zeroed out lines. And that's likely what we're going to see is so everything that is at $0, either I feel comfortable at that budget or we potentially could go down because we had savings from the prior year.
On line 4120, heating of buildings, can you explain what this correction is? Is it the anticipated increases in energy costs, or?
So this is oil. We're at a fixed cost. When we budgeted for FY26, at this point we didn't have what our new rates were going to be. So we projected what those were going to be, and it wasn't until the summer that we got the actual rates for FY26. So that $12,000 is a correction actually for the FY26 that then drives what we'll need for FY27. So that's kind of just an adjustment for it. The short is I was trying to explain that it's like we're really our cost from FY20, what we're anticipating the cost for FY27 is pretty much going to be the same as it was for FY26.
Can we anticipate, we could all assume, but rate increase, because the rate increases is ahead of or after we budget, correct? We get those at the end of the year.
I'm anticipating just our oil usage and then oil costs are down as far as that. So that's what I'm driving that from where in prior years where we were budgeted. So anticipating that's like what our rates are. I'm very comfortable with where we're going to be. As far as that, the more wildly out of control side of our utilities is our electricity.
So I just think it's important, we all recognize. So payroll came in, what was it, 5.8-ish?
Yes.
Something like that. And so we're at 5 here, and we were modeling for Part 3, which we haven't seen yet and isn't done, but some decline, so that will help offset it. But we will be on the first pass above the 3.25%. So we definitely have some work to do, some pencils to sharpen. But as a somewhat partially wise man, used to say frequently, the further away from you get to budgeting, the bigger the number is. So as we get forward, we generally learn of favorability, but the just Norfolk Aggie is an incredible program, but I do think it's important for people to recognize that it's about $30,000 per student. Keefe Tech is about $20,000-ish or so per student, and our average cost per pupil is about $16,000. So it is an expensive option for us. I mean, it's something that benefits a lot of kids, but it definitely has an impact to our budget.
More work to do.
Any other questions? Thank you. Okay, Dan, you've got technology.
All right, good evening, everyone. So tonight, I'm going to focus on 3 important topics. There's many more, as you can imagine, with technology, but these seem to be, right there, right now. So First, we'll talk about Title II. There's some things where the district will need to come in compliance. So I'll kind of fill you on what that might look like. And then AI, of course, is everywhere. So we'll tell you what we're up to in Holliston Public Schools. And then finally, just a preview of Spring Capital, as Dr. Jordan mentioned earlier, so you can just understand the need. All right, so Title II. I realized after I made this presentation, I'm already out of compliance with my presentation. So right there, the ADA, I'm supposed to be defining that. And so these are the changes that we need to start making as a district, is defining all of our acronyms, because not everybody knows what they are. So anyway, that's the American Disabilities Act, and this is a Title II clause in that act. And so this has been around for a while, but they're starting the enforcement process to make sure districts and municipalities are in compliance. And so this is the definition of the requirement. Basically, all of our services, programs need to be accessible, so not really anything shocking there. So what are we doing right now to meet these standards, which in our case would be April 26, 2027. So some of the things we just started, and I'll give credit to Dr. Jordan's staff, Kim Sexton and Ashley Breton. We're starting to convert all of the school committee policies to web pages. So web pages are the most desirable and the most accessible of all of the text that we can provide to our public. So we have the competency determination that Dr. Kuska sent out today. That's our first. Well, we already have a couple of policies that are web pages, but we're going to start creating all of them as web pages. So we have Dr. Jordan's staff, and then possibly even a student intern is going to help us with that process. It's not quick. You have to take those Google Docs and PDFs, and you have to put them in a website and then format it. And so we're having all these discussions right now. Also, if you recall, as part of the strategic plan, we were trying to move all of our non-main platform sites to the main platform. There's still some out there, like the school counseling site is still a Google site. But we just, Seth Golder, our librarian here, just moved his sites to our main platform. That is also part of being more accessible. We give one-stop shopping for our public. But it's more than just that. So we've already taken action steps, but this is really going to touch all parts of Holliston Public Schools. And I'll give you some examples of some of the things that we need to start focusing on. I attended a webinar yesterday, so this slide you're seeing was an additional slide I added. It may not be in your presentation, so I apologize for that. But basically, the focus is going to be on everything we design moving forward needs to be accessible, like I gave the ADA example. So all the content that we create has to meet these requirements. So we have to talk about, as a district, again, this is fresh off the press, how we're going to implement this with teachers, and it's going to trickle down to teachers and students as well, the requirements. So, but the focus right now is on the public. In procurement, we have to embed all of the accessibility requirements. One of the big things that was discussed was all of our resources, digital resources, need to be compliant. Are they right now? I can't really answer that question, but anything moving forward, we need to make sure we list these as requirements.
Do you have to go back in time?
It's a great question. They said the focus should be on whatever you make moving forward. And actually, one of the things they mentioned was, as a strategy, is archiving. So if we have things out of compliance on the website, we need to actually archive them. We can still keep them, of course, but remove them from the public view. And again, we have till April 2027, so we have a little bit of time to do this. But just a couple of examples, in case you're curious, some things that I didn't even know about. You may have seen, like, some websites have read more on them. That's actually not compliant. It should say, like, read more about bus schedules. You have to give context to those links. Another example is color. So some people are colorblind reading the website. So if you have a blue hyperlink, that's out of compliance. It has to be blue and underlined to be in compliance. So these are little changes, I think, that we just have to make and inform our staff. Communications. School committee sends quite a few emails. We're having one going out tomorrow, right? We feel pretty good about the Bright Arrow system as far as translations, but we just have to be aware of these other, hyperlinks, some of those requirements, and then social media surveys all need to be in compliance, and it gets to be pretty detailed, but we'll plan as the leadership team how to implement this. Okay, moving on to AI and our steering committee. So we formed a steering committee for those that I remember back 2 years ago, actually at this time we formed a steering committee. And we developed recommendations and we have implemented some of those recommendations, but AI just has not dissipated whatsoever. So this time around we're going to keep that steering committee, we're meeting 4 times, but we're going to keep it alive and well, just as a check-in, because it's evolving so fast. So right now we've had 2 meetings. We have 3 subgroups that have formed, and we are going to develop a public-facing site. I'm actually considering Notebook LM as a potential site to host all of our resources. So we're actually going to use AI to help us keep everything together, but then the public site will probably be on the website. So stay tuned for that. And I wish I had more to present tonight. I can give you some things we've been discussing, but my plan is to come back in February after the last meeting, and hopefully members of the committee will join me and share what we've been doing. Here's the makeup of the committee. So we have several students, which is awesome. For whatever reason, we have 4 6th grade students. So 4 out of the 6. We have 2 high schoolers on there too, but we have a dedicated group of 6th graders, and they are awesome to hear. It's actually interesting. They're telling us, and this should not be a shock to anyone, they're using ChatGPT. I mean, they're being honest, right? And they're sharing how they're using it, and it's not making us feel feel good. And so that's where this committee needs to hear all this so we can plan for how we're going to teach students how to navigate AI. The 5 staff members, I just want to congratulate them and thank them. They're coming out on their own time. So that's Allie Curley. This is her 2nd steering committee stint, so really dedicated a lot of time. Muja Patel. Jenny White is a new teacher. She's done some awesome things with Gemini, really innovative, and she shared that with the committee, which was really exciting. Corrine from the high school here, our language teacher, and then Kim Clifton from the middle school. She's an ELA teacher, which is awesome to have ELA represent on this committee. That's one of those subjects that's difficult to navigate. So I will bring recommendations from the committee and hopefully more members February if I can ask to be on the agenda. And then we were going to meet probably quarterly after that, the committee. But it's a healthy group. It's a lively group. I should share one more thing. There's a lot of discussion about the environmental impacts, and some of the committee are very cognizant of that. And every time you type in an LLM, you're whatever. It's the same as 3 water bottles you're wasting. So we're having these conversations. It's interesting. You hear all sides of it. Will AI eventually overcome all those environmental issues? Who knows? But there's a lot of great discussion. By the way, some of the parents, a lot of them are AI leaders in their workplace. One of the members he heads AI for his organization. It's a $3 billion company. So we have some really high-end expertise on the committee. And so we have these sixth graders, and we have these CEOs and AI leaders. It's really interesting group. So thank you to all of them. I really appreciate their time. We're meeting 2 more times in January. All right. Oh, one more thing about the AI committee. These are the 2 big things that we're wrestling with on the committee. ChatGPT, if you haven't heard, they've released ChatGPT for teachers, and that's actually for anybody with a Holliston Public Schools account, so that would include all of you as well. So it's a free license until June 2027. Chris Mayo and I, the town IT director, are currently configuring it so it's as easy as possible for folks to access this free license. But the great news is it meets our privacy requirements. So similar to Gemini, you'll be able to safely enter prompts into ChatGPT because it's protected with enterprise security. So that's huge. And this is only for staff, just to be clear, not for students. Gemini is approved for students, but this is one of the things the committee needs to provide guidance on is when should we and who should we implement AI with? Will it be 6 to 12? Will it be further down? So we don't know the answer to this. We're just going to provide some recommendations. And then DESE released guidance in late August. It was a little late for planning for us, but we're trying to integrate their PD plans into our current plans, as Dr. Menard knows. Okay, finally, just a quick preview of capital, swinging over to infrastructure to support all this AI and devices and Wi-Fi and all of this. And by the way, you're on Wi-Fi 7, in case you're wondering. Spencer Carlin, our network specialist, has upgraded this building entirely to Wi-Fi 7. So that's the latest and greatest as far as speed. However, our network switches are 14 years old in the high school. That means we can't maximize that Wi-Fi 7 yet. So once we upgrade these switches, then we are doing as much as we can for a public school district to maximize Wi-Fi speeds. And if you recall, I think I shared it in a s'more. The students in 5th and 8th grade are getting Wi-Fi 7 devices. So the 8th graders, when they come to the high school here, if this switch project goes through, the 9th graders next year would be sailing along with the new devices and the new Wi-Fi and the new infrastructure. In addition, we need batteries. So every closet, every network closet has battery power. Super important to protect our equipment. And those are due, they only last 3 years, as you can imagine, just like a phone battery. And they need to be replaced. Finally, there's some cabling that we need to do. We've added some displays in some areas, but we're kind of hodgepodging those. It's kind of unprofessional how they're wired up. So we need some cable runs to help us get those looking decent. So just, if you recall, this is all E-ratable. I know that's probably not a word. We use E-rate to reimburse us for, it's called Category 1 network access. And so this price tag, $150, and this goes out to bid, by the way, so that's just a forecast. But it would only cost us $90,000. So we get 40% of that back from the federal government. And then the Rams Music Studio is up for replacement. That's over 10 years old. We upgraded the high school last year, so we want to keep the middle school in alignment with that upgrade. And so they're due right now, and that's going to be about $20,000. We will likely go with a similar model for the high school, what the high school did, which has been very well received, which is Mac Mini desktops, monitors, and then all the necessary accessories. And then finally, Mr. Alford went to the play as well, but the lighting system that the town and all of you helped usher through the Capitol last spring, they gave me some pictures to share with you in case you didn't make the play of the new lighting system in action back there. So that's been really well received. So any questions about the AI, the digital compliance, or the Capitol?
I had a question on the ChatGPT license. When you say no training, we're not training, obviously, our information's not going to the public models, but it is learning from internal, like, because otherwise it's not as, I feel, beneficial if it's not growing its knowledge.
Correct. It does learn from your personal chats.
Okay.
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Does it learn from your personal chats, or does it learn from Holliston's public schools chats?
It's a good question.
Okay.
It should be personalized to you. It's basically you're still going out to the web
Yep.
For the resources, but like your data is not. It's like an
not enriching what everyone else can enter. Like you're getting benefit.
Correct.
What would be interesting though is, and I don't know with the free license, could it enrich our internal knowledge? Meaning, if there's others sharing things around, it pulls that in. That is open and available. Obviously, things that are private, stay private, need to. But having that internal enterprise level allows you to get smarter, pull in information, but not make the public models as smarter. They're not leaking that information, obviously, to anyone else.
Correct. So it's a good question. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it as best I can. It's so we're not, whatever we put in there is not training the LLM, so it's not going to be used to whatever keep.
Yeah. Oh, gotcha. Okay. And is there? I'm assuming. I mean, 27 is a pretty long time. Yeah, we'll monitor how well it's being used. If it's impactful, obviously that then becomes potentially a license line item in a year and a half.
And we're going to be. So it's interesting. Some people in the committee are saying we probably don't want to do this. We should standardize on Gemini. However, the other side of the coin is teachers are using a non-enterprise grade license. We know teachers are using ChatGPT right now, and it's not privacy protected. So that's the other side of the coin, is we want them on our enterprise license so that they are protected. So yes, it is a sort of a risk, because we could have teachers that really love ChatGPT, and then June 2027 comes around and there's a bill. But we're going to be clear at the outset, like we're going to leverage this tool, and we have a year and a half with it. So we want teachers to become AI literate and experts, and then we'll make that decision about the license. Do we do both, or do we just keep Gemini? Because they're not.
It's going to change so much.
I know. Everything is going to change tomorrow morning.
Yeah.
So, but and we were not expecting the ChatGPT thing, but we do think it'll improve staff literacy, which should end up improving student literacy.
With the number of community members talking publicly and reaching out about the dangers of AI and concerns, I mean, everywhere it is, how are we using this committee to communicate how you guys are thinking about it for Holliston Public Schools? Like, where's that? I know you said you're going to post regular updates, but more so like, how do we handle the ongoing and growing concerns of AI in an educational environment?
It's a great question. It's going to be part of the education we provide to students and families. So this committee, there's a subcommittee working on the concerns, the environmental, the deep fakes, all of that. So out of that subcommittee should come some recommendations, probably going to be short-term and then long-term recommendations. And then the leadership team, and we will take a look at those and then figure out how to implement them. But it's a great question. It's happening very fast. We have, and I'm sure folks at the table know this, like every day there's bits and pieces of AI popping up in incidents, and it's and none of us are, this is all new for us too, and so they can do that now. Interesting. So
yeah, one thing I'm positively driven by what you're doing, and hoping, obviously, with those things popping up, we don't shut the opportunities down. We figure out how to harness them the right way, right? And certain things we might need to keep at bay, obviously, but certainly something that's not going away. So if we avoid it, a lot of companies are dealing with this too. If you avoid it, you fall behind. So really excited to see what comes out of this.
No, you're absolutely right. And the committee is, I told them at the outset, this is the struggle. We know the markets the world is expecting our kids to be AI literate, but you can't use it as a crutch, so how do we balance that? So there's a lot of expertise, and actually a lot of those, parents said the same thing. Their companies are still struggling with AI and how to navigate it. We don't have any higher ed on the committee, which we did at the last committee, so if anyone's listening out there, we're kind of like open arms. If you want to join the committee, come on in January 7th, and we will welcome you with open arms. But the higher ed is interesting, too, because you see some colleges embrace it. Others say you can't use it whatsoever. What do we do with Holliston High School students? How do you prepare them for that? Some say, yes, we're all in, and some say, no way. So another struggle.
A couple things. For our policies, when we're going to the web-based policies, how difficult or would it be possible to include a link to a PDF version of it? I was just looking up the one that we did, and it's like printing. If you printed it, it's like 6 pages with the web-based version versus like 5 from Word or PDF. And I also really like PDF.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter if you like it, Dan.
I like PDFs too.
No, but if you have a link to the PDF within the web, then everybody wins. Unless it's like something.
What if?
No, that's 6, 7.
I know. How do you keep? But also, how do you keep them? Make sure they're always in sync too. That you've got two things you have to.
There are.
I don't know. There's so many.
Yeah, they did not. They were not huge on the webinar yesterday. PDFs were not good.
Even links from the thing that's compliant to
we could certainly
consider. We can check, but I think they consider that now you're creating another inequity when we're trying to get rid of the inequity so that everything's translatable. So now you just keep going down.
Is that the translation piece?
It's translation, but it's all the other things. Folks that are colorblind, folks that are.
Is there a list of all of the compliance?
There is. Yeah. As a matter of fact, sorry, I forgot one thing. Folks that cannot hear, another thing we will have to start doing if we ever create videos, we have to use closed captioning, and we have to post the transcript as well. So again, another change to make sure everything's out there is completely available.
But it's not inequitable if you have the thing that covers the equity piece of it, and then in addition, something that I like. But
sure.
Is it? I mean,
I think that's fine. I think as long as you have,
it has to be the same.
At least the web page.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah,
sure.
Something to think about. Okay. As far as the steering committee goes, how do you feel? I mean, 23 members is a lot for the main committee. I mean, is that working for you, or is it?
It's similar to our other committee, and felt like the other committee was very productive. And I will say, the 23, not everybody can make it. One of the big struggles was you want to encourage kids to come, students to join, but you also want to meet parents, and their needs. So we're starting at 4 o'clock. So it's a 4 to 5:30. So some parents can't do that because of work. So we actually have a hybrid model, which is another wrinkle in it. But we have some parents, like 3 or 4 parents, joining by Zoom, and then we put them in a breakout room to go to their subcommittees. So it is a lot, but I really wanted a lot of voices, and if they're students are in the district and they want a say in how AI is implemented, then by all means, join the committee. We want to hear your voice.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, do you have a staff and administrator AI steering committee within students and parents as advisory sort of members where the committee comes up with stuff and then sends it to those groups? So that way at least there's more smaller groups sort of doing most of the work and then seeking the input from these 23. I mean, 23 just seems. If it's working for you, then I'm not going to stop it. But 23, I know that, what was it, the Envisioning Future Holliston was like 17 or something, or some huge number they could never get people together, and it just
It is
took a long
Dr.
time.
Bernard is actually on the committee too. Sorry for not mentioning you,
No.
Joni. But so the subgroups are going to be where all the work occurs. So it's really just
Okay.
3 large. Well, they're not even large. They're about 5 or 6 people each in these subgroups. And then I'm just facilitating, making sure the tech is working, and then offering whatever I can as far as resources. So.
Okay. And then around the capital requests, we do just need to have a conversation with hopefully a new high school, not a rebuild. At what point do we stop putting money? At this point we're probably 5 years or so away, so it definitely makes sense to continue on, especially upgrading to ensure that we have the network and Wi-Fi access. But at some point it's going to not make sense, or we're making sure that the equipment we're buying is transferable or whatever. Just something to keep in the back of yours and Dr. Gordon's head.
That's a great point, because the cabling is one thing that could, that's not going to be transferable. So that's something where I have to make a decision there. Is that really worth it? Knowing the new high school's coming, then maybe not. We just figure out how to do that.
Right. But at this point, maybe it is. But then if we need to change, if we need other cables to be swapped out in 3 years, then maybe not.
Correct.
And do we have it broken down? 150 is pretty sizable. Broken down between those 3 to understand, like, is cabling 10 grand of the 150?
Sure, it's a great question. The network switches are going to be probably 130 to 140,000. Yeah, the network switches
90%
are.
of it.
Yeah, that's the brains of the operation. So, and the batteries aren't too bad, and the cabling's not. We'll see. It's going out to bid. So.
Questions?
A lot of exciting stuff.
Thank you. I'm thinking we might move the calendar up. Talk about the calendar right now, because I know, Lori, you're here mostly for that, right? I know this is all riveting.
It's been a very interesting meeting that I wasn't expecting so much.
So maybe we'll cover the calendar now, so you can hear that discussion, and then we'll jump back to, if that's okay with. Okay, so I think at this point we have a draft calendar for the 26, 27 school year. I don't know if you.
Close my drive. Sorry. I'll go back up.
Thank you.
Got it.
Down, way down, under old business.
Got it. Okay. A little bit.
Nothing's changed since the
Yeah.
last
So,
meeting?
to answer your question right now, we are not changing anything with the holidays for the, I keep getting the years, 26, 27 calendar year. We did talk about forming a group to talk about that. There have been requests to kind of take a look at how the district handles holidays. We are not taking that on this year, and the way the calendar falls next year, there are some holidays that kind of are falling on weekends, or so it makes it a little easier to. The calendar kind of naturally is a little easier than it is this year, where we have a bunch of holidays that were midweek, and it has extended the school year kind of longer than some people would like. So the current draft of the calendar has the opening day for staff on August 24th, which is the Monday. And then, let's see.
The last day would fall on June 16th if we had no inclement weather days, and that's why it's not as impactful to the heat and all of that, and that's why this for next year this makes sense to keep this in place.
And it will be a broader discussion if we start making changes with things like that. So it's not something we wanted to rush through, because it is something we want to hear people's concerns and thoughts on. So that discussion will be coming, but not for this next year. And it will still be a discussion. So there's, again, no, it's just, do we want to look at this and make changes? How does the community feel about that?
And it won't be a religious holiday conversation. It will be a calendar conversation that includes religious holidays amongst looking at different options, including February and April break, how we implement PD days. I mean, it's much more of a holistic look, not targeting religious holidays specifically, though I think they need to be part of the conversation. At least that's my view.
Yeah, I agree.
So are you planning on voting on
So I think we would like to vote on
So I have a
the
thought,
calendar. Yep.
which is always dangerous.
You do have thoughts.
I know, I have too many of them. Most of them aren't good. One of the concerns I heard this year, obviously, were that in the first 10 weeks of the school year, we only had 3 full weeks. And while that's not as much of an issue next year because of the way that the holidays fall, there is that the week of the 7th, which is Labor Day, and then also having a PD that Friday really makes it like only a 3-day weekend time. My only thought was, do we have the 24th be the opening day for teachers, the 25th being a PD day, and then the 26th being a half day? It doesn't shorten the school year at all, but it does sort of limit, it would still be a broken up week, that the week of the 7th because of Labor Day, but it would at least be a 4-day week rather than a 3-day week.
So more consecutive days for kids.
We have proposed that in the past for other years, and teachers really, when we had discussions, really were concerned about having PD, and when they're anxious about getting prepared for students. So that's why we didn't go that route in the last few years. There was a lot of, just feeling like they were so unfocused, so doing PD on a day when they're so focused on trying to get ready for kids that they weren't really getting benefit from that PD. That was the issue we were hearing.
Is there any time during that first day where teachers are given space to spend time in their classrooms, or is it all district driven?
Sure. So on the 24th, on opening day, half of that day is dead as part of contractual that the teachers get time in their classrooms. And then on the 25th, that the reason we made that a half day is because of the mandatory training. So teachers get the 26th, not the 26th. Sorry, the 25th, they get time to do their mandatory trainings that day, so that they really don't have time on that day. So that the half day on the 24th is the only time. And then they're going right into school the next day.
And there's no way to combine those? Like, I kind of agree with Dan, the breakup and having that PD, that full day. I mean, I understand your point about pushing it, but I also know as a parent that half day it's a strange start for the continuity of the kids. The little ones are going for a half day but not a full day. Like, it's really disruptive for our students as well.
To be clear, we would still have a half day, and what I was suggesting
later.
It would be the 26th.
Yeah, a day later.
Oh, day. I thought you said a week later. Sorry. Yes, it would be a day later, and there's a lot of reasons for that half day, but this would at least just get more longer weeks.
That half day is required, though. That's contractual with the teachers.
That is,
at this
yeah.
point.
Similarly, a little different. November 3rd is a PD day.
November 3rd is election day.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Yeah, that's fair.
And actually, because the last couple of years we kept it on that day, Unified Arts has been able to get PD that they're much more rigorous than in the past. Yes. So, and other districts are coming in, we're actually offsetting costs because Ida has been bringing other districts in to do it with us.
Sorry, I didn't think about it before.
March 2nd.
Sorry, yeah, I was looking at March 2nd next.
But then there's like a 1 day and then 2 days. I mean, that's like, I don't know what.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
That's rough.
Neither option are great, actually.
Yeah. Well, why was March 2nd chosen as a Tuesday instead of a Monday or a Friday?
We've been asked to try to not have all Fridays too. And, you know, this is kind of, we've tried to compromise between what administrators think is best, what teachers think is best, and everybody has different, so doing a combination seems to have been the way we've compromised on some of that.
What about February 22nd? No. You wouldn't come back. Yeah.
March is tough because it's also MCAS month, and then you have all those dates on.
And that's why I try to put the PD earlier in the month for that reason too. I mean, it just really, there's no good answer.
May was a full month, I think. Basically.
Well, the 31st.
Yeah, but that's 4 full weeks of school.
The full day PD, is that also a contractual requirement, or is that something that we could look at in terms of how the community feels about partial day PD versus full day?
So regardless of whether we have half day or full day, teachers still have 185 days, so there's no way to change. When we had 185 days to make up the lost half days, students had 181 days. So that's part of the, so it doesn't change the length of the school year in any way.
But more time on learning.
Actually, no, we get more time on learning this way with less half days, yeah. And it was more about trying to have less half days for students. For parents, it's such a challenge to get daycare. So by having the full days, before we were doing 3 full days and 4 half days. So now it's 7 days of childcare. You know, so this seems to be working best. And then the other thing is now that we have having everybody on the same 8 to 2:30 schedule, we're able to get district-wide PD. I mean, that, you know, trying to get counselors together. So anytime we have the half day, that we can never get paras together on half days. We can never get all, whatever the group is. So this seems to be the most efficient, and we'll be getting more meaningful PD as a result.
And we're using it a lot for curriculum reviews now, just because the sub coverage is so hard.
The new schedule lends itself to actually make half days work better because you've got, 2 schools. The elementary schools are now on the same schedule, and the middle and high school are on the same schedule, and they're only 45, 50 minutes apart. I mean, before when it was spread out, 190 minutes between them together, that was not feasible. But I would think now that we've really sort of condensed the overall district start and end.
Yeah, our half days end at like 10:30.
Yeah, I mean,
11:30.
They can't, I mean,
Well, for the middle school.
even if it's only 90 minutes, we can't run the PD, or if it's a 2.5-hour PD on a half day, there's no way to do both schools together because they don't really run, there's just no, I mean, it doesn't work. They'd have to travel and everything, you know what I mean? So there's just...
I just heard that a lot, that there is a thought that more half days and more consistent sort of PD in smaller bites is more impactful, and that there's more learning that happens from the teachers through that. So rather than just kind of full onslaught days sort of sporadically around across the year.
There's research around all of that. I think we could put a case together for any of them. I think it's really about also capacity for when we're running PDs, having also enough staff, because a lot of we run our own PD without hiring because we're trying to minimize costs. So when you have the same, if we can put groups together, like for example, we have Peg Dawson coming, doing executive skills, and because we have all paras there, the same time as all teachers throughout the district, we can combine larger groups and we get much more cost benefit to it. And so I agree with you. There's like pros and cons to all of it, but we have found this model to be the most cost effective and also allowing us to get groups together in the last couple of years.
Would the extended day be available on half days? Is extended day available for? I mean, because that's, I know if we're talking childcare as a reason for doing the full days. If the extended day is not available on those full days, but could be on half, that would give a lot of our families that rely on that care.
Well, they wouldn't be available. I think for the issue is if they don't already have extended day, then other, you know what I mean? Like it's, they're available on some half days, but not, they also were trying to fit in some PD for them. So I think if there's too many factors to have to figure, I'd have to dig into that a little bit more. But they wouldn't be able to accommodate more children.
Right, but all of the kids the families who already rely on that could use it.
For example, like some employees from extended day are going to be attending January's PD. So, I mean, we're trying to build PD for those people too. So you wouldn't be able to go to PD and provide services.
And Dr. Jarrett, correct me if I'm wrong, the extended day are for certain hours. How does that work on a half day? Because you sign up for 5 days a week till 6 p.m., but school day ends at 2:30.
They built it in.
So it's built in, okay.
And in the past, Tracy, there's Parks and Rec. Years ago, we would partner with them. They would sometimes offer programs on half days too.
The thing too to think about as we're doing curriculum reviews, we're going to be needing to look at vendor PDs. And we cannot afford to do 2 PDs from the same vendor. And if you're having different PD start times and end times, you'd have to do two sessions. We would not be able to have the November 4th PD like we normally have. That would put a kibosh on that. You couldn't do that. So there's a lot of things you cannot do by having half days.
I feel like I need to speak up for Cynthia. Should we talk about February or April vacations? I'll leave that
Not
there.
on this calendar.
Okay. Just throw it
But
out there.
as part of that whole discussion, absolutely.
Yeah.
We got really lucky last year.
What about July? We don't do anything in July. What if you school days in July?
This one's an easy one, Dan. Just wait till next year. Sorry, we need that conversation.
I guess the only other question I had was with September, since we were selecting a Friday, does it make sense to have it be Friday, September 4th? Right in
That's what I was
advance
trying
of
to
Labor
combine
Day?
it with the Monday
Right.
off versus 3 days.
Oh, yeah.
Both weeks you'll have 4 days as opposed to one with 3.
And then it's followed by the following week is a full week, and then you have a series of full weeks, somewhat different than this year. So
Yeah, this year's way better.
it's just a thought.
Sorry, what was it?
If we're going to do a Friday PD,
Yeah.
would it make more sense to make it Friday, September 4th, where you have the Monday
The
Labor Day?
frustrating thing is from the PD end, a lot of people are going to be very frustrated because the attendance will be so low.
Yeah, that's also.
So a lot of energy is going to be put into it, and people will not show up.
You
That
know,
also
you'd be
breaks
better
up-
off putting it the 18th if you were going to do
Yeah,
that. You know?
that also breaks up that week. You have a full week.
Right.
The first week of September, 31st through the 4th. So I would agree with Dr. Cusk if you're going to do it on the 18th, so at least give a 4-day weekend. But I still think do it the 25th. But and the other thing, we don't necessarily need. I don't think to decide that tonight. We could vote for the sort of the first day.
The first
to be
day being the 24th,
Yeah.
and the last day being the 16th.
And see if, I don't know if we want to survey teachers on that, but at least get some more feedback on.
Why the 25th?
It's just because it makes for, you don't have a 3-day week, move the 11th to the 25th.
I thought we were saying move it to the 18th though, so that.
Make it August.
Oh.
Oh, sorry, yeah, August.
You know, another possibility, if it does push it out a little, like October 2nd, could be a potential if you're trying to have more September time.
Longer days, yeah.
I think that would be something that could be managed because it's still early. I mean, we're trying to get stuff earlier in the year so they have time to practice what they're learning, but that would not be too disruptive.
No earlier than the year, than before the year starts. Because I'm trying to not break up another week while doing it.
So let's vote the first day.
Okay.
Entertain a motion to have the first day of school.
First day
for staff.
For staff.
Opening day for staff on August 24th. And last day of school on June 16th. That would be 180 days for students, assuming there's no snow days.
Moved by Dawn.
Second.
All in favor?
And then just to be clear, the first day for students will be the 25th or maybe the 26th, but right, if anyone's planning, that would be the time frame. And do we want to talk about forming a committee, or when do we want to think about that?
Let's get through the superintendent search and maybe put it on our calendar for late January, or well, really probably early February.
I would agree with that.
Does that?
Yeah,
sure.
That still gives us time to work on it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Say thank you, or is that out of protocol? I just want to say
Thank you. Thank you. Good night, Lori. Thank you for coming. Okay, so I think we want to hop into policy because we've got a bunch.
Yeah, we've had a lot of policies this fall, and the reason is there's some that we've had to adopt or revise based on state requirements, like the competency determination that went out today, and then the middle school pathways that we're going to read again for a second time today. And then others we are looking at to make sure that we are aligned with MASC policy and kind of looking at where are we need to update policies or where do we need to rescind or adopt new policies. So the first one is a first reading. This is a new policy that is recommended from MASC, but also is aligned with Department of Health regulations. This is a physical examination of students. Did you want to read it, Tracy?
Sure.
Thanks.
All right. Title: Physical Examination of Students, Code JLCA, Holliston. Every student will be examined for screening in sight, hearing, BMI, and for other physical problems as provided in the law and regulation. A record of the results will be kept by the school nurse. Every student will provide evidence of or will be given a general physical examination 4 times upon entering school and upon admittance to the 4th, 7th, and 10th grades. The results of examinations will be a basis for determining what corrective measures or modifications of school activities, if any, should be recommended. A record of all examinations and recommendations will be kept. Every candidate for a school athletic team will present the signed consent of parent or guardian in order to participate on a squad, and will, with the signed consent of parent or guardian, be thoroughly examined to determine physical fitness. The school physician will examine athletes except when a family wishes to have the examination done by their own doctor at their own expense. A written report stating the fitness of the student to participate, signed by the physician, will be sent to the school principal. The school physician will make a prompt examination of all children referred to them by the school nurse. They will examine school employees when, in their opinion, the protection of the student's health may require it. Except in an emergency, the school physician will not prescribe for or treat any student. Whenever the school nurse finds a child suffering from any disease or medical problem, the situation will be reported to the parent or guardian in writing or by personal visit if remedial treatment is recommended. A copy of the report will be filed at the school. The school nurse will make a monthly report to the superintendent of the number of students examined, the number excluded, and the number recommended for treatment or special adjustment of work. In all cases of exclusion or recommendation, the causes will be included in the report. There's a note regarding the BMI. Department of Health regulations call for vision screenings in grades 1 through 5, once between 6 through 8, and once between 9 through 12. Hearing screenings in grades 1 through 3, once between 6 and 8, and once between 9 through 12. BMI in grades 1, 4, 7, and 10. And this is the source of this is the MASC, updated in 2021.
What's driving this one at this point?
We just don't have this one. So we wanted to make sure we are aligned with, MASC and the Department of Health. But, yeah. So this is all already happening in our schools, but we want to just have a policy to align with our protocol.
So given Dan's presentation, should we define BMI?
Yeah. I think it's supposed to be ADA compliant.
Okay.
The first time it's used.
Body mass index.
Thank you.
And I also kind of want to add about the BMI, actually. A lot of conversation came around the use of that as a tool in general. It is still a state requirement, so although a number of us, myself included, had some strong feelings on the use of that, our hands are a little bit tied because of the state policies that currently exist, if I'm understanding the conversation correctly.
Can we put a link into it to a PDF?
No. No PDFs.
It's driving bonkers.
The next policy we enact is banning PDFs.
No, we banned Canva.
All right. Any other questions on this policy?
And we're going to take the next one?
Sure.
Short and sweet.
I know. Okay, so this is another one where this is an old 2022 MASC policy, and just going through our policy handbook, realize that we don't have it. So this is a new policy for Holliston, but a current one for MASC. Want to go ahead and read it?
Yep. Title Staff Conduct. Code GBEB. Holliston. All staff members have a responsibility to familiarize themselves with and abide by the laws and regulations of the state as these affect their work, the policies of the Holliston School Committee, and the procedures designed to implement them. In the area of personal conduct, the committee expects that teachers and others will conduct themselves in a manner that not only reflects credit to the school district, but also sets forth a model worthy of emulation by students. All staff members will be expected to carry out their assigned responsibilities with conscientious concern.
So we talk about the staff conduct, and we say all staff members will respond. And then in the area of personal conduct, the committee expects that teachers and others. Should we change that to expects that staff and others, or just staff?
I think we can change it to staff.
Sure. Yeah. Why? Staff.
We don't need others, then, right?
Yeah.
My only concern with this one, it's very vague. So.
But I think it's still useful.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's damn. It's just it's hard. There's obviously probably some very valid reasons or situations with it, but it's hard. It's going to be hard, I think, to enforce.
It's a recommended DESI policy.
Yes, or MASC policy. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. Yeah, I'm not against it. It's just.
The next one is a current policy, GCQE, Special Honors. We're actually voting to rescind this policy. So the reason is, this is a policy, do I need to read the policy?
Not for recent.
Okay. This is a policy for honoring retirees, and we're looking at rescinding it, not because we don't want to honor our retirees. That is a practice in Holliston we want to continue to uplift. But this is an old policy from 1979 and overlaps with some of our other policies and practices.
I know no one was, I don't think, on the committee in April of 2019, right? You were elected in May of 2019?
Correct.
Yeah. So I don't think anyone at this table actually was here. Do we have any idea they reviewed it? Why did they keep? keep it, and at that point,
All I can say is I'm not aware that this was being done. I know when I arrived, that there was no discussion that we were doing a plaque or displaying anything. Are you aware of anything, David?
That's what I'm kind of reading through.
And that's why we started doing, shortly after I arrived, we started doing a staff breakfast if we had a number of staff. And if we don't have a number, what we've been doing is they get a Holliston blanket with the H on it. And if it's a, like we have a retirement coming up, I bring it to the school and we have a certificate and we recognize them that way. And then at the end of the year, depending on the number of staff, we do a breakfast and that. So that's our recognition. But this, I don't know how long ago this was being done.
what other policies do we have in the council?
I don't have one.
Let's see.
Let me look back at our notes. QE.
And I think it was something that we had on a year ago to rescind when Cynthia was still in
Yes.
policy. So she would have known that this wasn't, I think that's why, because she knew that it had not been done in a long time.
And she left in her notes that this was one to review this fall. It's going to take me a few minutes to go back.
So I'm just sort of, if we're doing it already, I mean, I get that, but I worry that it sort of sends an awkward message. At the same time, I think it's a little bit too specific, and maybe it doesn't. So, I'm almost more inclined to sort of shorten it, keep it to something like, retiring employees who have worked for HPS for a significant period of time, or have made other special contributions to the school district. Should be considered for some sort of special honors by the superintendent.
I'm wondering that's where it overlaps potentially with another one. Like this is the specific one, and there's another one that calls out something similar to what you're saying.
I don't know if there is or not. I don't remember seeing one. But leaving it more open-ended and giving more discretion and latitude to the superintendent, not only for who to recognize, but for what the recognition could be. I'd like to know, like back in 1979, what they were thinking a permanent pass to school-related events was. I mean, that's is it like some golden ticket, like a trump card? No, but if you, I don't like the specifics that are in there. I think it's too sort of limiting, but at the same time, I think it's more of a recognition on our part that we recognize, service to the district by having a policy.
So we can put this on an agenda for the next policy meeting to go back and revise the language to be more.
I mean, if I'm the only one, then we can go ahead and
No,
send
I
it.
would
but
agree with that. We don't want to send a message. We don't want to do this, but there needs to be more latitude for like permanent passes.
Well, I mean, the good news is I don't think we were doing anything when I arrived. And we were actually doing, I think, a nice...
Yeah.
Did you remember doing anything prior to...
This is more for us that we're not following our own.
I don't know when it stopped.
Breakfast.
Yeah, I mean,
COVID made.
Yeah,
Is that what the change was? Okay.
2020 when you arrived during the COVID year, there
So
wasn't?
when
prior to that,
I
there was-
first arrived in Holliston, we would actually have like a retirement banquet. Like there was like a formal thing at a facility that we rented out or whatever. I mean, that only stopped like probably in 2018 or 17 or whatever. But prior to that, the practice was a larger retirement banquet, and I think the union didn't want. There was some kind of a sort of having the scale and what that was as far as the number of retirees that we had, and for whatever reason there was like a year or 2 years that we didn't do that. But the prior practice is every year there was like they would do like a large formal banquet and invite families or whatever.
And like, I mean, for instance, I don't like the form of recognition shall be approved by the school committee. I don't think that that's particularly necessary, I mean, unless it's a huge budgetary, expenditure or something. This is more just the policy of the school committee, just to recognize, longstanding and exemplary, service to the district.
I might even say that the Part B is probably sufficient, just updating it a bit to reflect retiring employees specifically. Except removing the plaque and permanent pass.
I'm just making notice.
So we do, I guess, have like naming a policy to name certain things, like the Nemeth Field complex, and there's that. But at the same time, Bob wasn't a member of he quasi was because we paid for a portion of his salary, but he wasn't DPW, he was highway. Very important. But he also wasn't quite an employee of HPS. So I mean, you guys take it back and think about it. And if at the end of the day it's still you figure out why it was recommended for rescission, then fine. But
The next one is tutoring for pay. So we read this at the last meeting. At the last meeting, we also made just a couple changes to it. Second reading, we need to read the full thing again.
No, you don't have to. The message is just to change it.
So in the last meeting, we did change his and her to their, and he and she to they are.
you need to underline the B.
Okay.
You're supposed to underline the period.
You could also waive the third reading if you chose to do so.
Anyone, would we like to waive the third reading on this?
Yes.
I'll entertain a motion to waive the third reading.
Wait, the third.
We have the second reading,
Wait,
and then we can waive the third.
We have to do
We
this.
have to do the, can we waive?
This is the second.
This is the
You can
second.
waive.
So we're
When you
waiving
do the
the.
second, you can waive the third and vote.
Oh, okay.
So we have to read for the second reading, and then we can waive the third, right?
No, just changes.
Just the changes.
I thought you just had to do the changes and just first time through.
In 1979, they waived the second reading. I'm just saying, I'm sure everything's exactly the
Probably
same.
another policy that says we can't waive the second reading, so.
We should definitely rescind that one.
So Dan, you stay on budget, not policy.
I am not good with policy.
So wait, what
So
are we
is it
saying?
making a motion to approve? What's the?
Yeah, can we
make a
Yes,
motion
you can
to-
vote to waive the third reading and approve policy GCRD as.
You know, this is the second reading. Doesn't it have to come back for the third reading, which we then waive and then we vote to approve it?
No. At the second reading, you can do the second and third.
So the second reading was just noting what those changes were?
Yes.
And now we're waiving the third reading.
Because you actually made the changes at the meeting, so there were really no changes since October, the last meeting.
I'm not good with policy, so
I'll
whatever.
entertain a motion to waive the third reading
So
and
moved.
approve,
Second.
and approve this policy.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, that passes. Great.
As long as there's PDF.
Yep. Okay.
All right, the next one is also a second reading. This is our middle school pathways. This is not middle school pathways in terms of leveling. I don't know what that is.
What is the X?
I have no idea.
Somebody's on it, I don't know. Somebody's touching it probably.
I don't know, and I don't know how to get rid of the big X.
Whoever's that color. Tracy, sorry.
Tracy.
I can
Put it somewhere else.
Click the white. Click the white.
And it hit the watermark
know.
because the message says replace watermark.
Oh, it's watermark?
You're on the watermark.
You're on the
that's why.
watermark somewhere.
Go up like, where?
Oh, now you added another one. I don't know what to do.
Can I reject your watermark?
Yeah, let's try. Reject suggestion. Okay, there we go.
There you go.
Okay.
So, technical question for English majors. If you're going to define a term, does the term need to be capitalized? So just C, the
I
career.
don't believe so because of the fact that it's not a proper noun, and I was an English major. If it was Holliston Career and Tech Educational, then it would.
So do we just need to note those changes as the second reading? And
Yes,
then-
just read any changes since
and
the
then
first reading.
We can waive the third reading and approve this?
Yes, that would be important because I do.
You need this one.
I do need
for
to
the-
get it uploaded,
Yep.
hopefully before the holiday.
So the changes were just to spell out career and technical education?
Yes, that's the only change.
Yeah. So I'll entertain a motion to waive the third reading and approve policy JEC.
Second by Dawn.
All in favor? That passes. Okay, last one.
Last one is social media. So this one we have reviewed before. Sorry, I'm just looking back at the notes. No, sorry, as a school committee, it was not reviewed since 2022. But this is one we have been updating. So I will read the new language. We're adding the language. While the district recognizes that employees retain First Amendment rights to communicate outside of work, employees should be thoughtful in how they communicate on matters of local, state, and national concern, such that their communication do not disrupt the workplace. We're also adding in language, all electronic contacts with schools should be through the district's computer and telephone system, except in emergency situations. HPS staff should be using their Holliston email or other Holliston messaging systems to communicate with students. All contacts and messages by coaches and faculty advisors of team members shall be sent to all team members except for messages concerning medical or academic privacy matters, in which case the messages will be copied to the appropriate administrator. When necessary, messages can be sent to, that should be taken out. When necessary, messages can be sent to subgroups, for example, team captains. Staff will not give out their private cell phone or home phone numbers without prior approval of the district. Pertinent content from coaches, faculty advisors, and other staff leaders that must be done via a teacher's personal phone number should be sent to the whole group and must be school appropriate. So those are all the changes since we last discussed this earlier this fall. We also had Dan McLeod take a look at this and confirm that there are ways that students can communicate with teachers via messaging, so it doesn't just have to go through email. And that way Holliston can kind of monitor and have a log of those contacts.
Thank you. Yeah, we had David List and Matt Baker in a couple of meetings ago to kind of talk about that part as well.
And the sentence about the district recognizes that employees retain First Amendment rights and such that the communications do not disrupt the workplace. I do find do not disrupt the workplace is really ambiguous. Where did we get that language from?
That came from Andy.
That was from Andy.
Yeah.
It is ambiguous.
How would you define it?
I wouldn't include that language, but
I had sent it to him, and that was his recommendation. But
From some of the stuff that's gone on recently. Not here, nationwide.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
So as far as the staff giving out personal cell phones, so if a staff member is going to communicate with the team captains, they have to basically get prior approval to give them their personal cell phone before they can communicate with the team captains? Is that what?
No, they should be using one of the Google platforms, the Google Chat, that is accessible through anyone that has an HPS account.
They're trying to kind of change the direction of how.
Well, Holliston messaging systems.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we kept it intentionally open, so if we go away from Google or Google changes names or whatever it is, that it's still the school-based program.
So Holliston's messaging systems, should we put in there currently Google, just but subject to change? I mean, no. I'm not saying I want to.
It might be 3 or 4 more years before we get back to this, and they may change the messages.
Should we put the
currently
what the messaging platform? Because saying Holliston messaging platform, somebody could say text messaging is. So who's defining what is Holliston's messaging platform?
As designated by the
yes,
director.
because then you can change it, and as long as that role is decided, it's good.
As provided or as provided by the
district.
So within this, then, under what circumstances would a staff member give out their personal cell phone numbers and if that be approved?
I think we just wanted to keep options open for a rare occasion. Because in an emergency, for example, they might not be able to get, like, the quicker way might to get a text message, you know.
Well, but in an emergency, they'd have to have that to begin with.
What do you mean? True. They would have to have it, but
But emergency could be somewhere where they're good students and they can say, give me your cell phone because I've got to text you. And maybe, you know, various, I don't know, I'm just hypothetically.
Right, but this says give out, so that means they couldn't even have it if they received prior approval.
Some concern too is if someone signs up to be like a coach, has their number ready, right? How do you? There's a lot of things you need to go through to get to. Like, when did they get it? So,
Or if a high schooler is your babysitter and you're, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess that would be one. Maybe that's an instance where they can get approval, right? They'd be like, I'm such so and so is my. I don't know.
Yeah, have all fun because there's like hundreds of scenarios you probably bring up. So like having one pipeline of like they need to get approval regardless of the scenario.
I guess they could still use the messenger app.
I don't know that. Would we want? Would we want them using the messenger app to talk about? Can you babysit? It's. I mean, I guess it's fine, but it kind of muddies the waters now of like.
Well, I mean, if we're forcing them to do it, I guess we.
Well, it's a tricky one.
I hate this policy. I mean, no, it's. I mean, not. I hate policy. I like having this, but it's just
It's ambiguous and it's.
And
A
it's
parent
not.
who's also a teacher who has, is like coordinating a sleepover or something for their kids' friends. And
we have some teachers in the district. that
Absolutely.
apply
So
to.
that's I don't know how. There's a lot of overlap.
The biggest thing that we've had issues with is the fraternization on social media and trying to avoid that. We've modified that a number of times because making sure people understand that they really shouldn't be friending kids unless it's a specific account or just their students.
I mean, could we take out the part about the phone number and just have inappropriate contact via phone or electronic devices prohibited? To get away from a little bit of the gray area.
Right.
I don't know.
And what's the point of even calling up? Just electronic devices cover it all.
Yeah, I don't know. Well,
Some people have landlines that are, rotary.
I still have a landline.
I don't know.
Damn tricks.
Yeah, I'm okay with taking out that.
Okay.
Yeah.
it's the other thing is you could add, communication between staff and students.
If we're reviewing it, is there anything else we need to do in terms of like official approval of this policy?
We just vote to agree to the changes.
Agree to
as
changes.
noted.
I was just, do we clarify in here that this doesn't include volunteers, or do we need to? Or is it clear enough that we're really just saying staff?
We did ask Dan McLeod, like, if we have non-staff members who are going to be coaches or assistant coaches, they can get an HBS account. So.
But also then they may not be full-time employees, but they're not volunteers either.
Right.
But
Volunteer coaches wouldn't necessarily have it, like assistant and coaches, regular coaches, and I don't think we'd want volunteers to be the ones communicating.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Are you okay with it as it stands at the moment?
Yes. Is it? I guess it's entitled social media, but it goes a little farther than social media. Is the only other thing I would say, right?
Digital communication.
Digital communication?
Yeah. Social
Maybe
media and
with
digital
Flash.
communication.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if I saw a policy term social media, I don't know that I would look to this to find out what limitations on my cell phone use are.
Is everyone good? Entertain. So this is. We can just approve this at this point.
Can we have a third reading on this one?
Yeah.
What was that?
Can we have a third reading on this one?
You want to do a third reading?
Well, it's an existing policy, so you don't.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a reading, it would just be holding until.
Whatever. I mean,
We can always go back.
we can always do it.
It's not even that late. Okay.
No, I know, and
Entertain a motion to approve policy IJNDD, social media and digital communication.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? That passes.
Before we move off of policy, can I just ask policy to maybe consider looking at JBB? It's educational equity, J, and then B as a boy, B as an English.
Okay. Sure.
That's something to maybe consider reviewing for this year.
Okay.
We don't have that policy right now, but other schools do.
Okay, great.
Including Hopkinton and Westwood.
All right. Moving on. Central Office Administrators update. So, start with
Yes.
Susan.
A couple of quick updates, and then I'll just talk about the proposed timelines. Learning walks happened today at Placentino. It was our first one for the year, and we had almost all of our administrative team at Placentino, and that was a lot of fun, especially for people that may only be at high school all day, to be able to go down to preschool to grade 2. And this is something that we continue to try to improve upon each year, and we'll have one at each building, and we're also trying to build in some where some of the staffing roles will start to join in some of those this year as well. And then round tables I've had at all buildings, and one of the theme I've been starting with this year is what does belonging look like at Placentino or at Rams or at Miller, and I have to say the kids have been amazing. Particularly I was impressed by our middle school students. It was the group was very forthcoming, very just engaged, and every year I've had some great kids, but this year they kind of really, usually they're not as comfortable the first time they meet with me, and then later when they get more comfortable, but they just jumped right in, and it was nice to see how pre-K to 8 so far, the students have really been talking about how belonging is a positive experience in most cases at all the buildings, and then also ideas to improve upon it. And then obviously MSBA is a big, exciting piece of news. And David and I and David List and Frank Gervasio and James Keast will be popping in tomorrow to hear the approval, and then I'll be reading a brief statement at that time, and then followed by the meeting on the 16th. Yesterday I did, not yesterday, Tuesday, I was mystery chef at the high school with our program with Ann King, and we made holiday Rice Krispie treats, and they brought me mine today because it wasn't cool in time, so I was able to get mine today. It was a lot of fun, and the kids were great. And then I did certify the CD policy on the website through DESI today because it had to be done also before the holidays. And I've already received some questions, which, you know, it's hard. This is a DESI compliance requirement, and then parents are asking, what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? And I will be working with David List to send out what it means a little bit more, but I just had to get it certified right now. So if you get questions, let people know more information will be coming, and he'll be going over that. But students that did already pass MCAS and are doing their regular coursework, nothing will have changed. This actually offers opportunities for students that didn't pass MCAS to potentially still be able to get their full diploma this year and beyond. And then subject to changes in the future. That's the other piece, is that at the state level, changes are being made, and this could change next year. So, you know, this is really a snapshot in time at the moment that we have to do at the state level. And I do have two potential timelines that I shared with you because we know that we have the permanent Student Services Director position and a permanent principal opening at this time. So I was trying to be mindful of the timeline that you have for your superintendent search process, and with the hope that that person would be chosen. It appears you have end of February as that timeline. So thinking of that, I was trying to find time, and Joni and I worked on this, thinking about how can we make this work and also have the opportunity for the chosen candidate to be the final selection of the person. And if you recall, in these types of searches, it's typically the main interviews, or the first round of interviews, is done by a search committee, which I kind of proposed from our past searches what it would look like. And then by the time you get down to after the community forum and potentially site visits and all of that, then the final selection would be the superintendent, and hopefully that would be the upcoming superintendent that would make that final selection and do an interview, or potentially do it together if, you know, to help with that if necessary. So that's why I propose this timeline, because we also don't want to go too late into the season. It's these challenging times, particularly with a student services director role. Those positions have been open quite a bit in the last few years and seem to be turning over more than ever before, probably because of all the legal compliance and timelines, making it a more challenging role. But, you know, that's kind of where we landed at this point. I did talk to Mr. Vinay, and forgetting that he's now doing the superintendent search interviews, so he did say he doesn't think he'd be able to participate into the Director of Student Services role for that reason, because they are pretty close in timeline and bandwidth. So I would move to pull him off of that and be open to considering another. It could be potentially someone else at central office. I don't know if David Jordan would be interested if we go forward that route.
No, thank you.
Because I did put, for the principal one, I did already put potentially Joni. So I'm trying, oh no, you're already on this. Sorry, you're already on this potentially. So we're running out of people.
And I think, is there a job description that's available for us to review?
Yeah, if you go onto the links as well, it should be in your packet. There were actually two proposals. So I had Lisa put in the original one, which was actually updated in 2020. That's the one we used for the last search. So that should be linked on the agenda, I believe. No, sorry, hang on. Wrong link. Sorry, it should have been on, where is it? I think it's in the packet, sorry. And then Barbara and Lisa were working on trying to get something updated if you wanted a potentially different. Worst case scenario, if we were trying to get this posted that week of January 5th, and we have a meeting on the 8th, we could certainly post the one that's already approved, and then we can still edit the other one if you wanted to go that route.
I guess my only concern about the time frame, the time frame has job posting January 5th to January 23rd or January 12th to January 30th. Whether there's any interest in, and I mean, we have the January 8th meeting to approve the job description if we don't get there tonight, and maybe we will get there tonight, but if we were to post, say, January 9th, if there would be any interest in keeping it open until, say, February 13th. The reason I say that, like a January 9th to February 13th, is how closely these positions also work with the superintendent, and there may be people considering this position that want a little more clarity on who may be the next superintendent, and we're that close, right? So they may even consider applying once they know, and I think we will know by February 13th, which is just my thought on why we might push this back another 2 weeks.
And when is it pushing? You're still opening it to the 12th, right?
I would open it.
I would actually leave it open to the 20th.
Of February.
Of February.
Yeah, we're leaving it open.
But that's the vacation week, so we have the decision, so then people can apply, because nothing's going to happen over the vacation
I
week.
think I got the wrong date on one of these. It was
There were two slightly different dates, but that might, it really is a matter of pushing it back by 2 weeks or by, what, 3?
2 in a phantom week.
Yeah, 2 in a phantom week, in order to, again, we might get more candidates applying once they have clarity on who the next superintendent is.
I think that makes sense, yeah.
Okay. I don't disagree. I'm just putting it out there, devil's that the later we go, the challenge is that we're scooped up. So, I mean, I think, there's no good answer.
Then we sprint. In the job description, the only thing I think that I personally would like to put out there as an idea is that somewhere, and granted this is very thorough, I'm looking at the new one, and detailed, I think I'm looking at the new one, job description, but put out there somewhere that for the candidate with the right experience and background, an assistant superintendent title would be considered, maybe considered or could be considered.
That's interesting. And then
Wouldn't that be a different role though, Dan?
No. Well, okay. In theory, it could be, but this is more just saying, hey, and I think this is a misconception by a lot of people. While in general, if you look at it, an assistant superintendent is paid more than a director. It's just a title as well. I mean, there's licensing things, but I just, in an effort to maybe attract some people who are already directors of student services somewhere, who maybe have significant experience, maybe that's something that makes them say, oh, for my career, that makes sense to do that, and then they can let us know if that is why they're applying, and then at least that could be part of the committee's deliberations.
Should we put that though in as an or statement required? Because if you do need additional certifications to be the assistant superintendent, correct? So we'd have to
You need an assistant superintendent license, I believe. You guys would know better than
you do.
Yeah. But so right, you would then add in there,
And there are other districts that have that now. That isn't even, there are.
Yeah, that's just,
Currently, our salary is comparable to our assistant superintendent ranges, so we're not really, salary's not.
Well, that's the thing, right? There's a whole mix between directors and assistant superintendents based on experience and
I like the idea. I want to think more about it. I have read over the job description, and this is the one we most recently used, right? Is this
one that was in 2020? Yeah,
okay, but with that potential addition of the assistant superintendent language, do we want to think about?
Well, what would change in here other than the certification?
Just pose a potential thought, Bob, maybe too. I was thinking you could also have an executive director title. I mean, there's other things you could potentially consider.
I mean, I want to look into that a little bit and what districts are doing, and maybe even try and chat why they did that, right? And
the only thing is maybe January 8th we wanted to post.
Well, we could get that posted. I mean, if we voted that night,
Yeah, we can get it
posted by the 9th. or by the, what is that, the 11th?
Yeah.
The Monday. If we're leaving it open until February 13th, we still have, or the 20th, we still have, a significant amount of time. I just don't think much is going to happen that first week in January anyway.
Of course not. Sarah, if we could put it at like top of the agenda.
Yeah.
If we get late in the night, these are the conversations that
These are the, what slip past us.
tail off and.
You have something
But I think it makes, like, especially we should also look at neighboring districts, what they're doing to marketability. If the salary and qualifications are similar, why would you underplay the role?
Is the principal job just
Underplay
principal job
with the title, like
description, isn't it?
underplay that this could be assistant
I
superintendent.
did because
Well, I don't want to
saying
post it as
with
an
the last.
assistant superintendent, because I don't want to lock ourselves into hiring an assistant superintendent. But
Well, okay, we can, yeah.
we're basically saying this, we're willing to negotiate title.
For student services.
Let's give people a second to think about it too, and revisit
No, that's
it in
fine.
January.
No, that's fine.
I appreciate it. I just
But my
wanna
point is, like,
understand more.
rather than, I don't want to post it as an assistant superintendent, because then you're locked in.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily.
It might be limiting the pool. then,
Right,
too.
and the special ed coordinator, I'm not familiar with that.
That's the Michelle
That's
May's
Michelle
role.
May.
We had revised that.
That's what, yes, okay, thank you.
So I'm just going to talk from my 4 decades of experience and take it or leave it. It's free, so you can dispense with it however you want. I think when people are applying for positions, they want the title that is the title of the position. You're right, Dan, to the conversation. There might be somebody that comes along and says, I'll take it if you change it. But those are so few and far between. And the one thing I want to make sure is that you capture as many people in your net that you can. This is a really deserving district, and I want to make sure that there's somebody out there considering coming here in this area, or might even be in this area and is thinking, I'd like to work closer to my house than where I currently work. I would decide either executive director, or assistant superintendent as it goes up. You can always, if somebody's really interested in being an assistant superintendent, I think they'll speak up after being interviewed. But I think if you leave it open, people are probably wondering, well, you're going to change the salary if you raise it to the assistant superintendent? Is this what it is as a director? I just don't want it to be too convoluted so that you suddenly have a great candidate and they went, that's not what I expected, and then walk out on you.
And we are required as of November 1st to post salary ranges, so that would be something we'd have to put on the posting as well.
I want you to have every opportunity possible.
You need to approve some salary ranges, so actually.
Yes, and to be honest with you, David and I had already started to put together that. We just didn't.
We talked about it budget sub.
And yes, and so we could bring that back for January 8th, yep.
I hear what you're saying.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just don't want you to lose.
No, I don't want it to be like a highlight of it. I almost want it to be kind of like a thing at the bottom, and then
Right.
And then in parentheses afterwards, for those, if you were to be chosen as an assistant superintendent, you'd need the license. I mean, it's almost kind of like, please apply to the director job if you're qualified as a director, and maybe find a great candidate, but for someone who's content in their position as a director, but maybe they have, loftier, that's a bad term, but they have career aspirations to either be superintendent or to take that sort of that next step, knowing up front that we're kind of already willing to negotiate that.
Is there like a may consider section we can create?
Let's think about it, yeah.
We got to think, because there's like preferred qualifications too. I'm just thinking about it for postings, not.
And so if they were going to be, if you did change it to assistant superintendent, they would also have to have the SPED administrator license.
Yes, definitely. But remember, my advice was free, so you can do what you want with it. I just want to make sure you know that.
No, appreciate it. They wouldn't have to have the SPED administrator license?
They do. They have to have both. If they're an assistant superintendent over student services, we have to have, I had both.
But they have to have the SPED
administrator no matter what they have.
Right. And then you also have to have the assistant superintendent, which I had both when I was in another district.
Right. Again, that's why I don't want to post it as an assistant, because I don't want to limit the.
That's what's tricky about it, right?
Yeah.
Because they might not have that one.
And then I want you to lose candidates either. I'm just trying to think. Right. You have to decide, obviously, but free advice, put it where you want.
And what was you're thinking in terms of the principal search has one school committee member versus the, typically we have 2 school committee members on there.
I think I just went back to the last one that we'd done, and we only had one on it, so, certainly open to consideration on those.
And if we're doing this in the latter part of February, we'll have gotten through some of the big lift of getting through the superintendent search, which I like that idea too, because it's always, this is going to require a significant amount of time too.
Has an official communication gone out about Miller yet?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, did it go out district-wide? I don't know. Honestly, it's been so long.
I haven't seen
remember
anything.
he sent something up. Did it only go?
He's communicated something to his staff. I don't know if he sent something. I can't remember if he sent something.
No,
district-wide.
something went out. It's been a while now, but yes. But I can't remember. I'll have to double check, honestly. It's been since it was like late September, so I'll double check what went out.
We didn't get any. We kind of get sporadic things. We get most of the stuff from the high school, but some of the other schools it's more.
Yeah, we didn't get a communication.
No.
He sent something out to the school on the 30th of September. So like the parents of
The 30th of September. Okay.
Yeah.
So at least the parents of Miller. Yeah.
Sorry.
Has he been with us 20 years?
28. I think.
So we got to, if that policy stays, then we got to get him a plaque and a permanent pass.
Well, what was it Linda Ween?
Time's clicking over here.
The Placentino principal.
Yeah.
She got a bench. So I mean,
She did get a bench.
She did get a bench. So
did she get a plaque?
But not before the sidewalks and paving are done, because we don't want it to be destroyed. There was a plaque on the bench.
Okay. Anything else? Are we ready to move on with these, or are you still looking at that?
I think the timelines need to be, even for the Miller principal, also needs to be a little bit delayed.
Push it a little further out. Okay.
And I kind of, the Miller principal obviously is the one that's furthest removed from our sort of jurisdiction, if you will, despite the interest, but.
But I think a roll.
Can I, because we're still having on the agenda, can we go back to social media, IJNDD? I just need to bounce one more thing off of group that did come up.
Actually, are we done with this?
Are we done
so we're
with
just
this
gonna.
piece?
Okay, so we'll put this back on the agenda for the 8th.
Yeah.
Okay.
IG, is that okay?
Wait,
no, this.
We're gonna put Miller
The timelines?
and the SSD.
Can I just clarify the dates that you wanted me to revise here again?
I guess if we're back here on the 8th and we're approving it, we could open it up on January 11th, but with a closure date.
I could even do it the 9th.
Right, and with a closure date of February 20th, just that.
Oh, you want to go that far out?
For both of them.
Okay, that's fine. I know that people sometimes will ask when you have such a long window. It's fine. I haven't usually seen that long of a window, so. You want it till February 20th?
I think once, I'd like to have the superintendent's decision made, and then since it's next week, it's vacation week.
Sorry.
It seems like nothing will happen, just that gives people time to hear about it and then decide. And since we said it, no one will end up applying between those times, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So why don't we do January 12th to the 20th instead of rushing on the Friday?
Okay, that sounds good.
And then I'll
So
just
my
revise
question-
the other weeks around that.
My scenario on IJNDD, and just help me through this if this would be allowed. We have sports like tennis or baseball or basketball, and you're at a set location and the coach is present. What would you do with a sport like cross country? You may have upwards of 24 kids, and they're going to run in groups, right? Now, that means you're not sending a coach out with each of them. So you may have a group of 3 kids or a group of 4 kids that are out there running 6 miles. They will be all the way out in Hopkinton. And sometimes people get hurt, and the kids bring the phone with them. Who would you like them to call? Because it's not necessarily a 911. I mean, I think you're being a little sarcastic, but there are times, or someone gets sick or has a headache or is dizzy, they would call the coach. So have we provided something within this policy to allow for that emergency provision? Or are there certain sports where we have to think about an exception that the athletic director signs off on, and that's the scenario, is your coach isn't going to be with them for that time?
Dawn, I get what you're saying, cross country versus
Hockey or basketball where you're at a set location.
But at any point they can become separated where that becomes an instance. No.
In a basketball court?
In the confines of basketball court, no, but like the basketball.
Traveling to
Their way to
the arena, like any sport they can become disconnected with. I do agree with you. I think there needs to be some language that relates to health or safety reasons.
But you can,
Didn't you say that
you can also use it.
Numbers and stuff like that for coaches?
You can do this. You can actually do the same thing within like the Google Chat app. Is that it's literally just an app on each person's phone. You can get the same notifications you would as text, and it just pops up that way.
Can you call though?
No, Google Chat's not phone call though. That's typing.
Yeah.
I think the issue is just
all of our
don't twist their ankles. You want to be able to call.
Yeah, we do. I mean, we do have some flexibility within Zoom as well, within like our Zoom numbers. I mean, I'm not necessarily prepared with Dan to speak on that, but like, for example, on my cell phone, I can make work-related calls using my cell phone, using a Zoom number that is my office number, and everybody in the district has that capacity on their cell phone, and that's something that we could track that conversation as well.
I guess the challenge there, though, is if it's the student calling the coach, like going through Zoom and...
No, the student would just call the number.
Freshman have
Yeah.
No.
No, it would be the app.
A regular phone number to that Zoom number that comes through with the coaches.
Everybody has it as their own Zoom number.
And then there's also this line, all electronic contacts with students should be through the district's computer and telephone system whenever possible. Is that enough?
So maybe that would be.
But if the coach has a Zoom app with a Zoom district Zoom number, and the student is calling that, then that satisfies this, does it not?
Correct, but the student would have to have that saved or known.
Well, yeah, but they have to have their personal number saved in there.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think there should be some leeway in terms of giving jurisdiction that just because they made a phone call in an emergency, they won't be held like liable. So automatically, there needs to be consideration.
Yeah, I see that now too.
But it's also just having, then that means they need to have the number, which then means...
Well, we removed the phone number, I thought. We removed that piece. Didn't we?
Except in emergency situation.
Yeah.
But I love policy.
Yeah, we removed the piece around giving the phone. We said communication, right? I'm looking at it.
I think so.
From a protection lens, as a district, I'd rather because those systems exist out there that can provide a number for anybody, and for a coach for an athlete to have somebody's personal number, that it had to have been given, and they can give a safe number. We can provide a safe number that is part of our school system as the number that they can call, and that doesn't even have to be an emergency. They can call and use that number for that back and forth communication if they need to, and that's something that we can manage.
I think
If we were to go down that path, I would say the texting back and forth, we would want to use our Google Chat system because that will run through like all of our pieces. But versus even in an emergency, providing a cell phone, I would rather find a method where we're providing some type of protected number.
The only thing I will say is with the Zoom, we pay for all of those, so we don't give those out to people. Like the head coach doesn't even have them necessarily if they're not an employee. Those are, right now, they're only, so I mean, and I don't know how much they have, so I just don't have enough knowledge of that.
I just think if we're going down the path of like giving out cell phone numbers, I think you can leave it open ended, but I think we would still want to explore the option of what those alternatives might be.
I'm overthinking it. You want to just to protect your coaches and anybody that is. If someone has a phone number, calls them, like they're not. What does that coach do? They get a phone number call from a student that's on a cross country. Somehow they got a phone number. They didn't give it to them, but some other kid had it. How do you deal in that situation? Like, I just want to make sure you protect, so it's not like I get a phone call from somewhere, I pick it up, it happens to be a student, now I'm going to be reprimanded for getting that call.
Well, I think, now I'm remembering.
We're like overly thinking about
I
it.
think we talked about, the reason we added that was because what the approval might be is that for the captain only, that they might have the cell phone, because the kids can communicate and then get in.
That's what we were talking about at the meeting, yes.
I think that's kind of why we went that route.
That stops it a little bit, but not all the way.
Right.
Say we'll
No.
go in those groups. But David, I feel like maybe if you can run to ground that numbers like that could be set up soon, and we talk about this again in January, so that we know we have the ability to set something up like that, right? That
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sure it can be done, and it might not be necessarily Zoom too. Like Dan may have an answer for this.
yeah, I would want to run it through Dan, because even like earlier systems that were, 7 or 8 years ago, we were, as a middle school principal, we were providing to teachers, especially during COVID, to be able to be able to call families from home, but using a protected like number, not using their cell phone, but a protected number to be able to communicate back and forth with families in a protected system. That was one.
It used to be like star something.
67.
Thank you.
Well, it's not
calling. It's the
okay.
I mean, like an app that provides
Yep.
like a number or whatever that you can go back and forth. So I don't want to be overconfident in this moment, but I feel like that's something that we would want to look into.
Sorry, if we could just bring it back to look at another time too. I know we voted on it tonight, but I just think there might be
No, I think we should continue talking about it at
every meeting. Yeah.
I just want to make sure there's certain protections of it. Again, they don't get a call from somewhere. It happens to be a student. Now that person.
My guess is if we have an enterprise account for Zoom already, that the increased cost is probably relatively nominal. But
it's actually more than.
Yeah, no, they don't do enterprise. Every license.
It's gotten considerably more expensive.
My AI search tells me that Google Chat allows voice and video calls directly with an integration with Google Meet. So that might be a way that Dan is aware of to put the two.
If we
I remember though.
Yeah, how to use it.
Didn't Matt Baker say something about, or somebody said, never mind, because every student has an email
kids have,
through the, never mind. I thought that out as I was saying it. Sorry. We did talk about it, and I remember then what you said.
If it does integrate with Google Chat doesn't have to be facing. It can also just be direct to phone. So that'd be interesting. Google Meet.
We're going to follow this one.
what's that?
It's going to be one to probably review a lot more than.
Well, this is just, this isn't something that obviously you think that there's any issues now. It's just one.
I just say being something that's been on both sides of protecting both the student in these situations and protecting the staff member. I think it's important to have protections for both.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
You never know.
So are we good on the two timelines as well for now?
With those changes?
Yes.
January 8th.
I'll make a couple of adjustments and come back.
So, did you have anything else?
No. That's not enough.
That was funny. Joni, did you have an update?
I do, just very shortly. I just wanted to thank all the curriculum coordinators and teachers that have been hard at work at our various curriculum reviews. Just to remind you, we're working on our elementary ELA curriculum review with School Kit and DESE with the implement meetings. We're working on our science curriculum reviews, and also MLL curriculum review will start later this this month. So I just want to do a huge shout out for all the people putting time and effort and giving their expertise to us. That's it.
'Tis the season where we're getting into some swinging temperatures. With those swinging kind of pressure changes are wind and things that happen there. So we've had a lot of fallen trees and power lines in the community that have led to some bus delays, but also some just different traffic patterns there. Looking at the weather ahead, is I just kind of see that potentially happening. So we've had a lot in the last couple of weeks, and that potentially could persevere. That is just also everybody being abreast that we're kind of approaching the school cancellation risk period of time of winter, and those processes and making sure everybody has their updated contact information within Power School as families, so that when we do emergency message any cancelizations that they're receiving those. As everybody's been kind of chiming in and talking about, I'm just very excited about, extremely excited, incredibly excited about the potential of a new high school. I think for a community of this size, this is a once in nearly 100 years type of thing that you get to be a part of, and it's a high school is a flagship for a community, and especially a community of this size. All of the decisions down to the types of tile, to the corners and the turns and the bathroom locations and everything is a privilege for all of us to get to be a part of over these next several years. So just excited for the years to come in putting together this beautiful opportunity for the community.
So you heard it all. David is going to choose a tile. I mean, that's what I heard.
To choose the tile. It's going to be like that wood tile. Like it's going to.
Maybe David does not choose the tile.
That's how we get to 600.
Yeah. No. I don't know. We gotta compete with Lexington. So we're going for $1 billion.
Well, Lexington has a third-floor courtyard, so that's
They're now the most expensive high school in the country.
in the country.
Yes.
And they passed by the way. If we get, our vote is going to be in December. I'm just.
Okay. You do need a helicopter pad for all the amount of helicopters in around here, so add that to the list.
But then we need to bring back the airport. Did you know that they wanted to put an airport through Holliston?
That's great. Right. Add it in. All right, we're getting to the queasy time of 10 p.m.
I didn't realize it was my turn already.
I wasn't obvious about it. I just stopped talking.
Too subtle at this hour of the night. I'm sorry. So first of all, I just wanted to say thank you to the CPAC. We met this week as a board, and they, of course, had to allot money for their grants. And so 14, it looks like, nope, sorry, I think I lied. I think it's 11 people from CPAC earned grants this year in the district. We understand, Hillary and Trace are on the call with me. I think they said they had 24 applicants this year between families and school. Big chunk of people, of our faculty applied, and that really says something that everybody's so invested in our kids. So I think, first, I congratulate all these people who earned these grants, and I also thank the staff for the great work they're doing right now. We know it's gotten cold so quickly. The kids are indoors. Some of our kids really like to be exercising in the middle of the day, and their exercise is quite limited right now because they can't be outside the building when it's this cold out. And I'd say everybody has great patience at this moment, so I'm very happy about that. But I am thankful to the CPAC group. I wanted to say that last month I was able to attend the unified basketball game that they did. I did see Dan there. I did not have my shirt yet. My shirt just showed up, my Spirit shirt. I meant to wear it. I will wear it on January 8th. You will all be so jealous that you don't have one of these shirts that you will want to run out and order one for yourself. I can only tell you, they're great colors and great fits. So, but I did want to say that, that's another opportunity to support the CPAC folks. I want to let you know that we're beginning our conversations for extended summer school year, the summer year program, and so ESY dates will be coming out shortly for families. Hopefully next week I will have things out. I realize we're breaking for the holiday, but I want to get it done so everybody knows where they stand, and then we can be thinking about the number of students, the number of classes, the number of staff that we need in order to make this happen. I want everything in place as early as possible, so whoever is chosen to be the next director or whatever title they might have, I will leave that to you. I want to make sure that there's a really solid transition period, and when that person comes in on July 1st, summer school will start shortly after that, and it won't be, where is it, what do I do? It will be, this is old school, I'm really familiar with this. And that's important, because that kind of transition makes it easier for a person who's trying to figure out where they're supposed to park as well. I also want to say thank you to Joni, because she let me come and talk at the New Teachers Institute today about special education. I presented one slide. I can't put it here because I didn't put it forward, but we talked all about how we teach children in all of our classes, inclusive settings and settings where they might have to leave the inclusive setting. And we talked about how much we remember when we hear things, when we see things, when we do things. And so the remarkable number I'm going to read this very quickly because I know it's late, but it talked about the fact we remember 10% of what we read. So everything you've read tonight, you're only going to recall 10% of it, just so you're aware. 20% of what we hear, which you might want to tune me out sooner than that. 30% of what we see, 50% of what we see and hear, 70% of what we discuss with others, 80% of what we personally experience, and this was the one we drove home for the teachers. We remember 95% of what we teach others. And I thought that was pretty remarkable fact. So that was one of the things that we highlighted during the New Teachers Institute today. I also want to let you know that I've been working with the continuums and understanding better how they process, what we're doing, what the entrance and exit criteria will be, so that we have that really down pat, knowing that we're helping our students. We're looking at there are other kinds of programs we might need in the foreseeable future. I won't be here, but I'll leave recommendations on my desk for the next person, because that's something I definitely promise to do. So that is it in a nutshell, and of course we've started to talk about the budget, and I'm sure you'll hear more when we get back from the break in December.
So,
right?
yeah.
We have an appearance coming up?
Well, I mean, after today, we shut the door on part 2 and we start part 3. So.
There you go. So, and then in between, rest up.
So the grants you're talking about from CPAC, those are the ones that we approved tonight?
Yes.
And
so just for the community, that $1,700 was donated. I mean,
thank you. I did not have the number in my head. You are the numbers man.
I just summed the column up, but yeah.
Yes, well, you just proved that. You're the numbers man.
Which is just fabulous, so really
it is.
Appreciate that.
And if you look at the assortment of things that they were approved for,
yep.
I mean, it's such a diverse group of grants. I'm really pleased.
Yeah, that's excellent.
And I'm thankful to the CPAC, because they've been so generous of their time and their effort in making sure this happens. Yep. So order your Spirit shirts.
Mine's supposed to be done the 26th of December.
Okay.
I'll be here in January.
I mean, it's going to be a big upgrade from what you're wearing tonight.
Okay. Are we good with the job description for now? And yeah. All right. So reports from subcommittees, communications.
We were not able to have one before the January 8th between all the holidays. I think the purpose we'll want to discuss in that will be communications, obviously, of the superintendents. We learn more of the search. And then obviously this whole how we want to communicate. This is a little late breaking news on the SOI, so how we want to keep the community informed throughout this process for the many years that we'll follow.
Policy, I feel like we
We've been very busy.
We have a meeting scheduled, right?
Yeah, we meet again in between the 2 January school committee meetings, so, yeah.
Budget?
So budget met prior to our meeting tonight. We'd just like to extend how much time we can spend on campus on a Thursday. We discussed a range of things, including part 2 before Dr. Jordan presented to everyone tonight, and as well as our current the state of the operating budget. We're going to get some more updates, I think, on a regular basis, like we had before on that. But to sum up, we're in good shape for 2026. And then we also talked about our MSBA roof application, which there's some. Have we talked about this yet at the full school committee? The roof application, or MSBA, just as far as like the increased sort of inefficiencies.
No, we haven't.
No, yeah. So, as Dr. Jordan, I mean, maybe you can do it, and James Keystart, our facilities director, have started working on that. We've learned a lot more about how the accelerated roof repair program is not so accelerated and comes with significant additional costs. Do you want to do this, or do you want?
Go for it.
Okay.
You got it.
So the preliminary look that Mr. Keys has put together, working with Dr. Jordan, is that the cost will be at least $500,000 to $800,000 more than the $2.7 million that we had sort of. We were very confident that our contractor that we use for RAMs could do it for, and part of this is because they require a CPO, a project or CPM, a project. It's sort of like a project manager. That is very expensive, and a lot of other things. So I've connected them with our state representatives to also sort of start having some conversations about whether a lot of these sort of extra administrative costs by the state are necessary. It won't sort of help us, but as we do some work, and as we have, I think, more conversations early next year with the MSBA, we may have to decide whether it makes sense to actually continue on down that road, because it delays getting it done, and it significantly increases the cost. So even at $500,000 more, that means that the town is still going to have to come up with $250,000 more at our roughly 50% reimbursement rate. So it's administrative and sort of bureaucratic.
But on the opposite end of it, the town would have to do $1.3 million to cover the whole.
Well, the town's already done 1.35.
Yep.
And right, if we went alone, if we went by ourselves, they have to come up right. But then we would be able to do it next year faster, and it's $800,000 plus. It could be even more. So right. So at some point, you're like, if it got to a $4 million project, and we needed to come up with an extra $650,000. Yeah, it seems very. I'm sure Joe
I
knows.
think you can look on what the accelerated roof repair agendas, or even the SOI agendas, and you see communities like giving it back, like, nope, we're all set. We don't want it. And that's they go through the process and realize what this is going to cost and how much time it's going to take, and then they're like, no thanks.
Yeah. Which it just increases the cost for everyone, including just the taxpayers that are paying that the state then uses. More conversations to have about that. But and then as far as our solar project goes, I had thought we were going to need to review and sort of approve the lease by the end of this year. We've talked to our consultant, and that we've done everything we need to keep the project sort of safe harbored, put off to the side. And we will be reviewing the lease in January, February for approval. So we have a little more time there. Let's see. I think we have anything else? Did I cover it?
26 is looking good. 25 is looking good.
26. 26 is, yeah. 26 is looking good, and we're working on 27. Should just on the math advisory committee, we don't really need that anymore. We could vote to disband it.
but we probably don't need to keep it on here for future agendas?
Yeah.
Or keep it on and just...
I would say we probably don't need to keep it on for future agendas.
Okay. Super eval. Yeah. Okay. I think the last thing is just a quick update on the superintendent search. So we had been talking to Jeriel Bernier about the helping with the screening team. There were some scheduling issues earlier on. We worked out some things with him, so he is available to help us on that screening team.
So he'll be joining or consulting?
He would be joining, yes. So I guess I'd just like to take a vote to add him.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. I'm glad the scheduling conflicts worked out.
Yeah.
And I, look forward to working with them.
Right, he can represent central office as part of that team. So I'll entertain a motion to add him.
Moved by Dawn.
Second.
All in favor? That passes. Is there anything else?
Just want to thank Jeriel. Now that it makes sense, it's better that we have a central office person on there too.
Yeah.
I know we approached him initially early on, and so
Yeah.
glad that he could
It's great.
make that. Appreciate his efforts to make that work.
Okay, at this point, I will entertain a motion to adjourn open session. We do have an executive session scheduled, hopefully a quick one, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting may have a detrimental effect on bargaining or litigating position of the public body, HFT. So I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Which will not return.
To executive session from which we will not return.
A second by Dawn.
Is this a roll call vote? Tracy?
Yes.
Frank?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Hillary?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
And I'm a yes. So thank you and good night, Holliston.